evening, America. Ay, kailangan nga pala nating i-record ito.
Yeah, now we are on YouTube.
Ako ba magre-record, Ice? O pwede sa'yo? O nasa YouTube, so okay naman?
Record ko na rin po.
Okay, thank you. So, muli, magandang gabi, Amerika, at magandang umaga, Pilipinas. Ito ay ang ating Public Service Program Part 2, Webinar 101, Basics. At dalawa ang ating pag-usapan ngayon, petitioning for a family member by US citizens and green card holders o ang tinatawag na LPRs. At ang pangalawa ay ang updates on adoption laws in the Philippines. So, to officially start, pakinggan natin ang ating lupang hiniram.
Silanganan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tulad ka ng makinig, sa panlulupi, di ka pasisikin, sa dagat at mundo, sa simoy at sa langit mong bukaw. May bilang ang tuna at awis, magdayang minamahal, ang kislap ng matawat mo'y tagumpay na nagdilinig. Bituin at araw na kailan pa may magdidilig. Lupa ng araw ng walhati pagsintang, buhay lang isang piling mo. Aming ligaya ng may mag-aakit, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
May I now call on Selena Polly Raterta for the prayer.
Hello. So let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you that your amazing love has been poured out. Thank you for the cross and the guidance of the Holy Spirit. Help us to walk by faith. Help us to fully embrace your Son. Thank you for every seat that has been filled here today, for each mind and heart that feels the presence of this room. We thank you. Only you truly know what we are setting out to accomplish today. May we follow ideas, visions, hints, and daily instructions. We may have talents and abilities and time to work. However, only you can see in perfect detail the end and the beginning, every project, every season, every life. In the Almighty's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Polly. Let's have our four-way test to be led by our club secretary, Eileen Sim.
The four-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
Is it fair to all concerned?
Is it fair to all concerned?
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Will it be beneficial
to all concerned?
Yes.
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 Thank you, Eileen, to welcome. Unfortunately, our chair has a family emergency, and instead of closing, we have requested our president, Alvin Mangona, to be the person who will welcome all of you. Please.
Thank you po, Past President Dory. Thank you for giving this opportunity to welcome everybody. and being participated by fellow Rotarians and guests from all over the world, I have to say. Maganda po ang topic natin ngayon. We will be talking about adoption of yung Philippine laws, kung ano yung bago. Sorry. It's something about when you want to adopt somebody, ganun ba? In the US,
Petition, how to petition.
paano mag-adapt or paano mag-petition ng family member going to the US. And as we all know, marami pa rin po mga Filipinos ang migrate sa abroad, and it's always good to be informed what are the steps that needs to be done to make it happen, kumbaga. So I hope that we will take this opportunity to ask those questions to be clarified, and yeah, let's have fun, and yeah, let's do an open discussion about it. Thank you.
Thank you, President Alvin Mangona. Siya po ang presidente ng Rotary Club of Kagitingang Cubao, at meron pong isang grupo ng mga miyembro ng club na based sa Amerika, at kami naman po ang tinatawag na Satellite Club of Kagitingang Cubao Online. Mga laging naka-virtual kasi hindi maaring pumunta sa Pilipinas para makipag-meeting. But having said that, let me add the welcome to everyone. Maraming mga miyembro tayong nandito ngayon, at meron din tayong mga bisita coming from sa California. Nakikita ko merong nasa California. Ako po mismo ay nasa New York City, at tatawagin ko na ang aming tesorero, the treasurer of the Satellite Club of Kagitingang Cubao Online, to introduce to you our first resource person. May I call on Rotarian Noel Quintana. Noel, please.
Thank you, Dory, for the introduction. We have a very nice speaker today. Our first speaker is a graduate of has a degree of Bachelor of Arts major in political science at the University of the Philippines, and she has also a Bachelor of Law of the same school, University of the Philippines. And she started as an associate of Puruganan Chato and Tan Law Office, and then climbed as a clerk of court, Regional Trial Court of Olongapo City. And again, she went to the States and worked as a paralegal under the law offices of Maxwell C. Agha in San Diego, California. And then she went back to the Philippines as a senior associate of Puruganan, Chato, Tan, and Eleazar Law Firm in Pasig, Philippines. And again, she became a practitioner of law offices of her own firm, E&E Pascasio Reyes, based in San Diego, California. And she's a law practitioner from 1998 to the present. But in 2015, she also joined the law office of Reyes and Tudor in National City, California, and now she's a partner of that law firm. And as a sole practitioner of her firm, of her law office, she makes sure that everything is being taken care of by her, including the preparations of the legal matters. She is a member of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines since May 1989 and also now a member of State Bar of California since June 1995. Um, Fellow Rotarians and friends, let us welcome our guest speaker for tonight, Attorney Emeluz Pascasio Reyes.
Hi, good evening. Good afternoon from San Diego. Good evening sa mga taga East Coast at good morning sa mga nasa Pilipinas ngayon. Sorry, pa-adjust lang. Yes. Okay. The screen is so big. Sorry about that. Okay. Today my topic will be the petitioning by a family member, by U.S. citizens, and by green card holders. Like Rotarian Doris said, we call them technically the lawful permanent residents, no, the LPR. And in ordinary parlance, we refer to the LPRs as immigrants. Parang mas kilala na immigrants ang tawag kesa sa LPRs. And LPRs is just a technical term if we're going by the book. So today I know the topic is very dear and near to our hearts, Filipino hearts, kasi marami tayong mga kapamilya na maraming kamag-anak dito sa US na gustong mag-petition, and marami rin tayong mga kamag-anak sa Pilipinas na nag-aantay ng petisyon, no? So, but today we are not going to deal with actually how to fill in forms, because the filling in of forms, there's going to be an instruction for that form itself. What we are going to do now, and I think the most important thing when you important thing to remember when you're petitioning for a relative is to know the basics, you know. Mas magandang malaman natin yung foundation, yung brass tacks, so that naiiwasan natin yung pagkakamali sa ating filing. And maraming agencies we are going to deal with. So to begin with, I'm trying to share my screen. I hope we will all be able to see this. Okay. Is it coming out? Can you all see my screen?
Okay.
Yes po.
Okay na, sige. So first of all, mahalagang malaman natin what agencies are involved in petitioning our relatives. So I will be shifting probably from the point of view of a petitioner, and also sometimes mas madalang the point of view of the beneficiary, okay? And when it comes to the question and answer portion, which is probably the last 15 minutes of my hour, we will deal with the question and answer portion. Doon magpo-concentrate tayo sa point of view ng mga napipetisyon, ng mga beneficiaries. So to start with, the immigration agencies involved in filing a petition would be, I highlighted the USCIS, the National Visa Center, and the US Embassy. The bigger picture is it's the Department of Homeland Security, which is whose basic branches are the USCIS, US Customs and Immigration Services, which basically deals with the processes and the approval of petitions and applications. They are the first governmental body who accepts the petitions we're going to file. The AAO, we don't really meet with those unless there's a case involved. The Customs and Border Protection, we know them. They're the ones who stop us when we go to the airport, when we go to entry points, when we go to borders. And also the ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement. These are the most feared body of immigration officers, because sila talaga yung pumapasok sa mga bahay, which they're not supposed to be, and they're the ones taking care of the arrest and detentions. The DOJ, which we do not really get in touch with, they are involved most often sa defense ng cases sa immigration proceedings. What we are constantly in touch with is the National Visa Center and the U.S. Embassy, because after our petition is filed with the USCIS and there's an approval in your petition, it will be transferred to the NVC, the National Visa Center, for processing until such time as your visa applications are ready to be processed. That's just the general gist of the agencies, okay? So, babalikan natin yung topic na yan in more detail later. And then, of course, the U.S. Embassy is important because that is where the interviews are conducted, and that is where we meet the immigration officers whose judgment our lives will depend on in the petitions filed in our favor. Okay, so having said that, we go to, okay, there you go. The Immigration and Nationality Act, yan po ang batas na nagko-cover ngayon ng ating immigration system, immigration process dito sa states, no? It defines the status, it defines immigrant as the status of being lawfully accorded the privilege of permanently residing in the United States. It defines an immigrant not in a positive way stating what you are, but it defines it by excluding all the other classes that are not covered under the term immigrant. For example, the law exactly says an immigrant is an alien who belongs to the class, who does not belong to the classes of aliens specified below, no? And then those specifications are the consuls and the ambassadors. They're not immigrants and can never be immigrants. The tourists who come to the US for sometimes short-term business or for pleasure, those are not immigrants and can never be immigrants. The students, that is also a different class that in legal terms can never be an immigrant absent another process, no? And there are other categories that are excluded from the term of immigrant, and they are all named under the law. In other words, if you do not belong to that category and you are in the States and given the authority or privilege to remain in the state, then you become an immigrant. And being an immigrant is a whole process that you have to satisfy, of course, to show them that you are qualified to get the privilege of being a permanent resident here in the US. And the most important aspect that they look at is your intent to reside. No? Marami sa atin nag-a-apply or marami sa atin na fa-filean ng petition, na a-approve, and then umuwi sa Pilipinas, no? If the government at any point of entry will determine from your stamps, your passport stamps, that you don't have any intent to permanently reside in the in the US, they can just take away that privilege right there and then, no? Yun yung mga tinatawag nating inspection at the point of entry. I'm just speaking right now in general terms. We will delve on that much later, but in general terms, katulad dito, an LPR, an immigrant, must demonstrate that he is admissible each time he seeks entry to the US. And that basis would be the intent to reside. You know, if you cannot show your intent to reside permanently in the US, then right at the border, right at the airport, when you go through customs, they can really stop you and not let you in. Yung intent to reside na yun, of course, is makikita if they see that you left the US for a long time, like 6 months ago, and ngayon lang kayo bumabalik. No? And then if it's a pattern in your passport that they can see, then that shows the absence of your intention to reside in the US, and right there and then, they can take your privilege of permanently residing in the US. Okay. the next portion is to show you that under the law, the US, although they want to show to the world that they're welcoming all the immigrants, that they're opening the US to immigrants, and for family unity and all, just file your petition, we will approve, no? In reality, the US always limits under the law how many immigrants it is willing to accept. And right now it is pegged at 480,000 people, applicants, that they're going to approve. We don't know where this number came from, but right now that's the present state of the law. It even states how many, exactly how many. And out of that 480,000 people that they're willing to accept to open their borders with within a year, that's still divided into different kinds of aliens, different kinds of immigrants, because like there are two kinds of immigrants, and there are two ways of gaining an immigrant status. One is family-based petitions, which we are discussing right now, and the other one would be the employment-based immigrants, which we will not touch on because that's another ballgame. Yung topic na lang po natin ngayon of family-sponsored immigrants, mahabang usapin na po yan, and then probably the employment basis, the job-related immigrants will be for another day. But for now, yung 480, hahatiin yan, like we said, sa family-based and employment-based. And even that, the family-sponsored preference is limited only to 226. Yung 226 family-based immigration will still be divided into countries, and they have allotted 7% of the 226,000 to be each country's allocation for each year. So computing that roughly from the Philippines, they will allow 15,820 immigrants per year. Okay. So, balikan po natin yung nabanggit natin kanina. We mentioned that there are two ways of filing an immigrant petition. One is a family-based petition, and the other one are the employment-based petitions. And then even on that basis, we will define also who are entitled to petition, who in the family-based petitions can petition their relatives to the US. Okay, what we are looking for now is the list of who can sponsor or who can file a petition for the benefit of a relative. So who can file Form I-130, which is the application form. It's the petition for alien relative that you file in favor of your beneficiary. So who can file Form I-130 and for who? Okay. Ito pong una, the first part, the first half of it is for a US citizen. A US citizen can file an I-130 petition for a spouse, for an unmarried child who is under 21 years of age, for unmarried children over 21, for married children any age, for siblings only if petitioner is over 21 years, and for parents if petitioner is over 21 years. Of course, ang presumption po dito, yung mga pinipetisyon nasa Pilipinas. Okay? If you notice, there are letters beside this group of people, group of family members. Yung spouse is considered an immediate relative, and unmarried children under 21 years is also an immediate relative. Significant po yung under 21 years because the law, the Immigration Nationality Act, defines a child as as a person born to you who is less than 21 years of age, okay? Once you turn 21, your category varies. Kaya anyone 21 and above, hindi na child yon. So we have another category for unmarried children over 21 and married children any age, because this can be under 21 but already married, so they fall under another category, which is F3. And these letters and numbers are significant dahil po magmamatter dyan kung immediately available ang visa mo or you have to be subjected to a waiting period. Okay? And we have stated here, all C, D, and E categories above have derivative beneficiaries. That means the petitioner, which is ako kunwari na namimitisyon sa kanila, is not required to file separate petitions for the beneficiaries unmarried children under 21. And then it says here also, immediate relatives have immediate visa availability. No waiting for a processing period, but we don't have derivative beneficiaries. I know it's kind of confusing right now. So hold on to your questions. Isulat lang po natin, sasagutin natin isa-isa yan. So bale, yung spouse and unmarried children under 21 years, if we file a petition in their favor, once we approve, once we get the I-797 notice of approval, then that means the visa number is immediately available and the processing will continue. And usually right now, we can say in 1 year's time or a year and a half time, the spouse and the unmarried children are here, okay? And so with the parents. If you file a petition for your parent, then in probably 2 years, you can have them here. But for these other categories, they will be subjected to the visa category and the waiting period. That's why we have this F1, F3, F4. We are going to show you later kung ano na yung processing time na current ngayon para malaman natin kung gaano pa kahaba ang waiting period ng mga grupong ito. Okay? On the left, on my right side, on the right side, this is the groups of family members that a lawful permanent resident or an immigrant can file in behalf of these members. So an immigrant can file for a spouse, an unmarried child under 21, and unmarried children over 21. Immigrants, lawful permanent resident card holders cannot petition married children. Okay? So outrightly, that will be denied. No harm, no foul, no questions asked. Any married child of an immigrant, hindi pwedeng ipetisyon. Okay? These categories, itong tatlong ito, no visa available immediately. So these three categories have to have a waiting period subject to the processing times. Okay? Alam ko magulo, pero talagang ganyan po, mahabang usapin ang immigration laws natin. And this is the I-130 form that's supposed to be filed. This is a petition for alien relative. We're not going into a discussion of how to fill them up like we said, but we can discuss what are the important documents you have to attach or you have to prove to show that you qualify for the requirements of the law. Remember, the basic proof that you need is to prove family relationship. Okay, to prove family relationship, to prove intent to desire, intent to stay, intent to live in the U.S. and ano ba? And of course, the genuineness and the truthfulness of the statements you are to reflect on your application form. Okay. For the visa requirements or for the documentary requirements that you are gonna file, like we said, you are supposed to prove family relationship. And to prove family relationship, of course, as a spouse, you have to show your marriage contract, right? If you have been previously married, you have to show proof of termination of the previous marriages. If you have been divorced twice, you have to you have to submit your divorce papers for those past 2 marriages. If you are a widow or a widower, you have to submit the death certificate of your spouse. And if you are petitioning for your children, you would need to show the birth certificates of all your children and listed as you listed as parent of that child. Okay. In the absence of those evidences, those documentary evidences, you are allowed to submit secondary evidences like affidavits executed by friends who have known you all your lives. For example, marami sa atin, iba na ang pangalan or misspelled ang name, then affidavits are acceptable as primary evidence to show family relationship and to show identity. Okay. Also, for parent-child, sibling relationship, kunwari nagpetition tayo ng mga kapatid, what we have to show, of course, is the marriage certificate of our parents, the birth certificate of the petitioner, and the birth certificate of the beneficiary or the sibling who is to be petitioned to show na meron kayong common relative, which are your parents. Yun yung proof of family relationship na tinatawag natin. Okay? And also, as part of this topic, we already discussed who are the family members we can petition. The law also shows us which family members cannot petition whom. Okay. For example, adoptive parents, no? If it's an adoption, if it's a petition for an adoptive parent for the adopted child, that adopted child, once na andito na sa States, kung citizen na siya, he or she can never petition his natural or biological parents. Okay? The rationale behind that is because when the adoptive parents submitted the petition in favor of the adopted child, that adopted child is presumed to have severed all the relationship with his biological parents, no? Isa sa mga requirements ng pagpetisyon mo doon sa inadopt mong bata is dapat after nung adoption proceeding, you took him out of his biological parents' home already, and you should have exercised custody over the child for at least 2 years bago mo pa ma-petition yung batang yon. So it's illogical if in the long run, ia-allow ng US na i-petition ng batang adopted yung natural parent niya. So may rationale why an adopted child can never petition the natural parent. Okay? It's the same thing for the natural parent. Once na-adopt na yung anak mo, whether he is in the States or not, kung ang natural parent is nasa States, for example, and gusto niyang i-petition yung anak niya na pina-adopt na niya, hindi pwede yon. You know, that's one also another limitation, corollary and parallel to the first example that I gave you. Okay. A step parent, the third category of persons who cannot adopt, a step parent or a stepchild with respect to the other. A step parent cannot adopt a stepchild. A stepchild cannot petition a step parent if the condition is if the immigration privilege that allows them to petition came before the step relationship. Kunwari, citizen na ako, no? Hindi ko pwedeng i-petition yung stepchild ko kung yung step parent ko is after the child turned 18 already. Adult na siya, hindi ko na siya pwedeng i-petition, hindi ko na pwedeng i-file yung petition in that child's favor or in that step-parent's favor. Okay? Tapos yung mga mahalaga pa siguro that are close to us, other examples would be already so far and so distant to our situations right now. But other practical considerations or other practical matters that will fall under these categories is when if you are trying to petition a spouse, if that spouse is already undergoing removal proceedings. No, parang nandito ka sa States, no? Citizen ka or immigrant ka dito and nagpakasal ka sa isang tao na nanganganib na yung immigration status. He is either already on immigration proceedings or already in the process of being deported. Nagpakasal kayo, no. You cannot file a petition in that favor anymore because it already is obvious that you're just trying to get around or thwarting immigration laws. Okay, so for now, I think for that purpose, for our purposes, yun muna yung mga examples na pwede nating sabihin kasi nauubos na ang oras. Like I said earlier, masyadong komplikado ang immigration, masyadong maraming issues na dapat harapin, no? Kaya we will try to limit our topics sa mga importada and topics that are really close to us and practical tips regarding immigration processes. Okay, so we have this petition, like we said. You file it, you fill it up, you sign it in accordance with the requirements, with the instructions that came with these petitions. And then when it's ready, signed, it is always advisable for you to keep a copy of everything that you file with the USCIS. So once your documentation is complete, you attach a check. The filing fee right now is $535. So you send that together with your documentary evidence and you send that to the proper USCIS office. So tapos na tayo sa filing. Okay, and like I mentioned earlier, you have to always make sure you have a copy. And if you filed it online, print or save a copy of the completed petition so that we never know what happens. Probably you might need a lawyer down the line. At least you can show your lawyer what you have filed. Okay. It's always recommended that you have a copy. And also, like I mentioned here, when you go report for your biometrics, yun po yung pagpapiano, no? They get all your thumbprints. They're going to show you the petition and they're going to make you sign a declaration stating that everything that you've stated in your petition are all true and there have been no changes, etc. The changes in your situation will be addressed during your interview. But as long as everything that you have stated when you filed the petition are true, then that's okay. You can sign the document, the attestation they're going to ask you to sign. If in the meantime, nakita nyo na merong discrepancy sa reality or sa fact plus over the document that you have signed, they won't let you do your biometrics. They're going to reset it at some other time after you have corrected the mistake on your petition. Normally, if that mistake has not been caught by the USCIS, normally, you are bound to make a correction. Otherwise, if it was caught by the USCIS and an approval has not been sent to you, they will give you a notice. It's a request for evidence for you to submit other documentation in addition to what you have already submitted. Okay? And then in the form itself, there's a question that says, does approval of this petition that my family member is automatically a lawful permanent resident? No. filing the petition and getting an approval under the Form I-797 will not make you a lawful, will not make your beneficiary a lawful permanent resident yet. It just says it is approved for the purpose of you proceeding with the next step. It is approved because they saw that you have completed all the requirements and on its face, the application is complete. So they approved it for filing. Yun lang po ang ibig sabihin. And there will be a notice that says, do not resign your job, do not buy a ticket yet because you are not yet ready to leave for the US, okay? And then the next question is, when will a visa become available? We have discussed this in part when we were on slide number 2, I think. Oh, here. Okay, like we said, a visa will become available immediately for immediate relatives. That's for your spouse and for your children under 21 years of age. Okay, all the other categories that we've mentioned, F1, F2, F3, F4, their forms will be submitted to the National Visa Center for processing, wherein dyan na po papasok yung ating waiting period. And I'm telling you right now, the lag is very, very long. The wait is very, very long because they're still dealing with the backlogs during COVID season. Okay. And okay, when a petition is approved for the spouse and the children, these persons are classified as IRs and visas are immediately available for them. But when a petition is approved for a US citizen sibling or married or adult son or daughter, or for an LPR's child, spouse, or unmarried son or daughter, it is assigned to the appropriate visa preference category, which is the F1, F2, F3, F4. And then each year, a limited number of immigrant visas are available for each preference category. The visas are processed in the order in which the petitions were properly filed and accepted. Okay? At dito na po tayo papasok, no? Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina na family-sponsored preferences for the US, for the Philippines, we are only entitled around 15,000 immigrants per year. And divided that into the different visa categories, we can see kung gaano kakonti ang ina-allow. Hindi lang naman po yan Pilipinas. Basically, this is worldwide. Each country is allowed this many. So for the Philippines, for unmarried sons and daughters, over 21 years, around 1,600 immigrants only. For spouses and children of LPRs, it's only about 7,994. Okay. And then unmarried sons and daughters, andyan pa yan, yung percentage lang because we are waiting for the other categories. If there's a spillover, that's when they give it to the other categories also. And then married sons and daughters of US citizens, it's only 1,600. And for brothers and sisters, it seems like there's a lot, okay? But then again, the waiting period of this is so long that sometimes a lot of issues come out, like aging out of derivative beneficiaries and all that. Okay, and then we can see, I jumped. Ito po yung ating, like I told you earlier, ito na po yung ating chargeability. When I say we have visa categories and then they are assigned a waiting period, ito na po yung ating visa categories at ano yung waiting period natin, no? Yung waiting period right now for F1, again to show you, will be the unmarried sons and daughters of US citizens. Ang F1, ang pinaprocess ngayon, is yung mga filed on March 1st, 2012. That's how long the wait is. We're already 10 years, this is 10 years behind. At ito, sa F1 pa lang yan. And you see the other categories, ganun po katatagal. You know? F2A, the LPRs, makikita nyo yan, spouses and children of permanent residents. Maganda na to because the NVC has caught up and it is now current. So yung mga final natin ng 2022, pinoprocess na po yan. Okay, I hope you remember and you've chosen whatever category is applicable to you. So makikita nyo dito, this is from the from the Visa Bulletin of November 2022. So this is the latest. Wala pa po yung December Visa Bulletin. And for F2B, what they are processing now is October 11. Those petitions that were filed on October 22, 2011. And the F2Bs, there you are. The unmarried sons and daughters of LPRs. Ganun po katagal. No? And again, the F3s and the F4s are the siblings. 2002. So you can just imagine 20 years na ang inaantay ng mga siblings na na-petition. And like I said, there are issues that come along with this. Even if your petitioner filed your derivative beneficiaries, kunwari, yung kapatid ko, ako nag-file, may kapatid ako na may anak na bata pa, minor. 20 years ago ko final, he's probably 30 years old now. So nag-age out na po ng husto, no? And that also gives rise to another problem. Yun nga, yung aging out, will they still qualify? Although the law already provided for the Child Status Protection Act, that gap of 20 years in the processing makes a lot of difference, and you question whether entitled pa siya under the CSPA in the future when your visa is available and the INS and the NVC will tell you that, okay, a visa is already available for you. You can now proceed with processing. And if you filed for a sibling who is 30 years old, he's probably 50 now, posible pa yon. Pero if you filed for somebody who's already in his 60s, pagdating dito, mahihirapan na siyang mag-adjust, maghanap ng trabaho and everything. So, also, ang issue natin ngayon, no, when those relatives, even if they're willing to come here, they might have risen in promotion where they work right now, that they're probably directors of government agencies, of corporations in the Philippines, so that when they come here, they don't want to start from the bottom anymore. And it's going to be difficult for them to be laterally hired as a director. Difficult to impossible to be hired as a director or a manager already. So even if the US encourages family unity and all, productivity and all, reality is different. So marami pa rin pong butas ang US immigration process na dapat sagutin. But for now, this is what we have, and this is the reality right now that our relatives, the people we have filed the petitions for, are going to face. And when their petitions are up for approval, kaya minsan nagdadalawang isip, or when sometimes nagpunta nga rito just to satisfy the entry, nadi-disappoint kasi hindi na sila sanay magsimula from the bottom. You know, it's good if their derivative beneficiaries are still productive and they're still at an age that are raring to start over. It's good for them. Pero yung ating primary beneficiary minsan nawawalan na ng pag-asa, bumabalik sa Pilipinas. And then, pag bumalik sa Pilipinas and they want to come here because they would want to probably enjoy the health benefits of being an LPR or being a citizen. Probably they would want to apply for citizenship when they grow much older. It's going to be difficult for them to come back if they stayed so long in the Philippines again and almost abandoned or even abandoned their LPR status already. So I don't know if I'm painting a very grim picture for the immigration picture, U.S. immigration picture, but that's just the reality, no? So I think for basics, that's what I can discuss with you right now. So if you have questions, Sis Dory, do you think I have sufficiently discussed the basics? We can probably open our session now for question and answer, and I will try to answer to the best of my ability.
Thank you, Attorney Luch. At napaka
Problematic.
Hindi, napakaganda. Napakaganda ng iyong na-share ngayon. Attorney Luch, pakisara muna yung sa
Oh,
screen para
So
makita.
how do I stop
Stop.
sharing? I cannot see the
Oo.
button. Wait, let me see. Stop sharing. There you go. I saw it.
Okay, thank you. So, nakita ko na, meron nagre-raise ng hand, si Past President Luz Atendido. Kung meron kayong katanungan, paki-raise lang din ang hand nyo, subukan kong tawagin ang isa't isa.
Okay.
Luz?
Yeah. Give me time to note down, no? Kasi yung mga tanong nyo, isusulat ko para for the purpose of next topic probably, or if I give another lecture, I can answer these questions or incorporate it with my outline. Pero go ahead, Luz. You have a question?
Yeah. Good morning po. Good evening, Jan. Kasi in my case, ang tanong ko, we were petitioned by my mother 203, February 203. We fall doon sa category of F3. So ang question ko ho, we're on the waiting side. So ang question ko, when I declared, yung pinila pa namin yung form, I declared that I am married, I have a son. 203. So, ngayon, overage na nga yung my son, and he's now working in Australia. Pwede pag umalis ba kami, family kami, going there, or kami lang, kasi dineclare ko po yung kaming family, 3 kami. So, pagka dumating na yung petition ko, kami bang bundle ho ba kaming 3 makakaalis, or ako muna lang? Ano ba yung procedure doon?
Ang bundle mo is ikaw tsaka 2 children?
And my husband.
Your husband. Sa tingin ko right now, kung ma-approve na yung petition mo, nakita mo yung yung visa bulletin natin. So, anong ilang years pa na-compute mo na, no? So, most probably you and your husband, no question about it, makakapunta kayo. Ang question na is yung bata, no? At that time, the petition was filed. How old was he?
Parang 14 years old. Eh now, ngayon, magno-20 na. So, 35 na po siya.
Yes. Okay. Etong problema dyan, parang sa tingin ko sa computation, malabo, no? Parang, because under the Child Status Protection Act, there's a computation. It's not automatic that your age is frozen at the time of the petition, at the time the petition was filed. There's going to be a computation. For example, when the National Visa Center says, okay, your petition is approved for further processing, yun yung time na i-reckon na i-compute. From the time the Visa Center says, you are already qualified for processing, and then yung waiting period, yun yung time na ma-freeze yung age ng bata. But if at the time the Visa Center says your petition is approved for processing, at over 21 na siya, hindi na siya covered ng CSPA. Yes. Ang mako-cover ng CSPA is if at the time that notice of approval is received, dapat almost 21 lang siya or less than 21 para yung the rest of the waiting period, yun yung mafi-freeze yung age niya and then pasok pa siya kahit na 23 na siya. As long as at that time, mafi-freeze na siya as a child. Medyo magulo, no? Kasi pag sinabi na, pag na-receive nyo yung notice of approval that you can proceed with processing, that doesn't mean that tomorrow mayroon na kayong interview eh. Matagal pa rin yan. So siguro give it another 2 years because
2
once
years, yeah.
time you receive that notice, they will ask you to submit another affidavit of support, submit the clearances, and that takes time, you know? Okay, and then after you've submitted that, they will evaluate it. Sometimes, you know, I'm speaking from experience. Nakailang beses kami gumawa ng affidavit of support kasi nasa stale. Your affidavit of support at the time of the interview should not be older than 3 months. Pero dahil ganun katagal yung waiting from the time they were asked to proceed with further documentation and the time of the interview, stale na naman ang documents mo. So ganun katagal. And like I said, kahit na 21 or less than 21 siya nung na-receive yun yung notice of approval, yung waiting period nyo baka 3 taon pa, it's not your fault, of course. You can still file a waiver, file an appeal, but it costs money plus yung stress talaga ng pag-aantay. It's really very disappointing. I'm telling you this, we've encountered a lot of family stress because of that kasi nag-age out yung mga anak. Yun ang mahalaga doon. But at least kung kayo ng asawa mo makapunta rito, sige lang, mag-start kayo over and then make sure you get your naturalization, file it as soon as you get your US citizenship, file it for your kids.
Pero attorney, yeah,
okay,
may problema pa kami kasi my mom is 90 years old. Actually, narito ngayon siya and she's leaving soon. Paano yan kung may mangyari sa kanya after hindi pa kami tinawagan? Kasi we're expecting anytime next year but the processing is 2 years pa. Mabuti kung, thanks God, kung makaabot siya ng 92. So kung in case something happens to her, what will happen to her petition to all of us?
Yes, sinagot din yan ng Immigration Service because that's also a problem. Like the CSPA, the petitioner's age is also advancing, no? In the meantime, so merong sinasabing humanitarian waiver, no? And then we've handled that already, except that that process is discretionary on the USCIS if they're going to approve it or not, no? The humanitarian waiver is under the law, the beneficiaries, when their approval is up and there's a visa number available to them, and in the meantime the petitioner has passed away, all you have to do is notify the USCIS, attach a copy of the death certificate, and file that humanitarian waiver. Except that the humanitarian waiver is not just a matter of writing one letter, no? Marami pa ring ebidensyang dapat isubmit. Why the petition has to subsist despite the death of the petitioner, and how will you justify, ano ang justification nyo for coming to the US? Family unity is usually the justification we used. But like I said, yung family unity, it's more hype than actuality because, I don't know, it's discretionary. If it's not believable, hindi. Yung mga ganon, discretionary, you know the distinction between discretionary versus mandatory. Yung mandatory, the law will say, okay, you immigration officer, approvean mo to. That's mandatory. Discretionary, the law will say, okay, you immigration officer, she has submitted an appeal for humanitarian reason. It's up to you if based on evidences you think he's entitled to it. And humanitarian waivers are always discretionary on the part of immigration officers. So, laging may kasamang dasal yan.
Thank you po.
Sinasabi namin sa clients namin, laging may kasamang dasal.
Thank you,
But yeah,
Attorney.
it's a good question because talagang nangyayari yan. Meron kaming isang pamilya, patong-patong yung naging immigration issue nila, and aging out is one of them. Ang isang naging problema is also, retrogression. Even if sabihin nila ngayon, okay, your petition is approved, you can proceed with further processing. Okay, so you think your priority date is up, and then they look at the records, maraming sabay-sabay na pumasok na petition because all of you are in the same date category. Magre-retrogress.
Yes,
Ibabalik nila sa, instead of filed on 2020, i-retrogress nila ng, we are processing those filed in 2018. So may further wait na naman, which is nangyari sa client namin na kung hindi nag-retrogress yung case nila, yung 17-year-old nila, pasok sana at hindi nag-age out. Yung mga ganong issue ang tinitignan.
may consideration yun, Attorney.
Meron naman, but we cannot promise that.
Depende sa kanila.
Yes.
Pero ang isa pa, sorry, last na lang.
Okay lang. At as long as Sis Dory, okay lang, right?
Yun lang, go ahead. Nga pala, kung sino man ang gusto magtanong, pwede rin yung i-type sa chat box.
Okay. Isa pa ho,
So,
kasi
Yes, we have 10 minutes, correct?
Okay,
Mhm.
yeah. Pass na lang.
Sige.
Kasi I have a
Sige.
10 years visa, tourist visa till 3031. Pag ko ba dumating petition ko, automatic mawawala yung tourist visa namin or still
Actually, hindi nyo nga magamit yung tourist visa nyo ngayon because if there's a pending petition, if there's a pending petition, you can hardly get approved for a tourist visa. But since you have it already, then yes, you can still use your tourist visa. But then again, unless approved.
Yes, considerate ko sila kasi nung in-interview kami, hindi dito kasi pandemic, online lang. Pero din the second namin renewal, tinanong ako, you have a petition? Sabi ko, yes. Tapos in-approve pa rin po kami 10 years.
Oo. Yeah.
Siguro dahil
Pwede
alam
nung
nila,
gamitin
matagal
yan.
pa.
Unless talagang nandito na kayo at approve na yung visa, pwede nyung gamitin yan.
Okay, salamat po. Yan lang po.
Okay. No
I
problem.
give
Thank
chance
you
sa
for your
iba.
question. Pero totoong nangyayari yung mga ganyan. Kaya dasal lang kasama.
Thank you, Past President Luz. Meron pa po bang gustong magtanong? We can take in maybe 1 or 2 more questions. Wala akong...
Ako po si Dory.
Oo. Sino yan? May?
Si Renz Daos po.
Si
Wait lang po.
Past President Oyens. Renz.
Hinaan ko lang yung isang telepono. Ayan.
Habang inaayos ni
Ito po yung yung situation, Ma'am Attorney Reyes. Yung son ko actually is green card holder na. Ang tanong ko lang po, kung halimbawa yung petitioner, yung nagpe-petition, di ba? Green card holder na, alin ang which is the fastest way to petition the parents? Is it as a green card holder or a US citizen na?
Good
And
question.
how long po ba yun? How long ang processing pag green card holder siya tapos pinetition na niya yung magulang niya?
That's also a good question, kaya diyan importante yung sinasabi ko kanina na ating mga processing period kasi you can decide you can decide kung alin ang gagawin ng anak mo. And his remedies are not exclusive. For example, right now, okay, how long na siyang LPR? How long na siyang immigrant? 5 years? 3 years?
Mga 3 years po siguro siya.
Okay. So,
Hindi,
3 years
actually,
na siya.
kaka-green card lang po niya. Joke.
Okay, sige. Okay, let's assume kaka-green card niya, 5 years pa ang aantayin niya bago siya mag-file ng naturalization petition, no? 5 years pa bago siya maging US citizen, correct? So what he can do right now, he can look at the visa categories, the visa bulletin, and look, and we will go into that later. We can discuss it based on what we have right now. Doon natin mawiweigh kung anong mas magandang remedy, and it's not exclusive. If he wants, he can file right now for you as the parent, kasi ang doon sa ating waiting period, which is kayo is F1 ang parents for an LPR. Okay, so for F1, what they are processing now is March 12. Medyo matagal pa. No? Between waiting for that 10 years, March 12, versus him waiting for his citizenship, which is 5 years. Sasabihin ko sa'yo, antayin na lang niya yung citizenship niya. Antayin na lang niyang mag-naturalize siya in his 5 years para i-file niya agad. Pag final niya yon, as soon as he gets his citizenship in 2 years' time, andito kayo. So that's just a total of 7-year waiting period versus i-file niya ngayon and then mag-aantay pa ng, kasi 2012 yung ating ang ating processing date is March 2012. But then again, maraming issues din yan. Maganda ring i-file niya ngayon para lumakad na yung petition, because who knows, baka biglang madaliin ng NVC yung processing at wala ng backlog, then he might be able to get approved in less than 7 years' time, right? And also on the other hand, in 5 years' time, baka for one reason or another, he doesn't want to file his citizenship. You know what I mean? At least ngayon, lumalakad na. And then, when he gets his citizenship, he can upgrade your petition status to an IR by submitting his certificate, copy of his naturalization certificate, and says, hey, USCIS, citizen na ako. So yung petition kong magulang ko, pwedeng na nyo nang iyakyat sa immediate relative status. So in 2 years' time from that time, makakapunta na kayo rito versus yung kung ano pang natitirang waiting period. You know, it costs money because you're going to file for 2 filing fees, but at least you know, lumalakad na kung ngayon na i-file. And then pag nag-citizenship niya, nag-citizen na siya, pwede niyang i-upgrade yung petition nyo to an immediate relative level. So priority na kayo. 'Di ba? Family preference na immediate relative na.
Okay, thank you po.
Okay, you're welcome. See,
Attorney
talagang,
Lutz,
go ahead.
sorry pwede na pala mag-petition ng LPR ngayon ng parents?
Oo nga, no? Hindi pala. I was thinking spouse. No. Okay,
Matanda
sorry.
na tayo talaga.
Oh, yes.
Parents,
I was thinking
parents.
spouse, parents, hindi siya pwedeng mag-petition ng parent. Ang pwede lang spouse and children. Sorry. So, antayin na lang niya yung 5-year period pala. Hindi pala spouse ang pinag-uusapan natin.
Yan po ang the best.
Oo. Mag-citizen na siya, antayin na niya. Ride this 5-year waiting period. Pag nag-citizen siya, i-file for the parent.
Okay, thank you po.
Thanks for bringing that up, Sis Dory. I thought spouse ang nasa isip ko.
Meron akong tanong. Actually, hindi to applicable sa members of my family. Pero yung mga ibang naririnig ko, halimbawa lang, hypothetically, yung LPR, yung green card holder, kailangan niya maghintay ng 5 years, di ba? Sa kaso ni Ren
Mhm.
sa Limbawa.
Mhm.
5 years para siya mag-file ng naturalization.
Mhm.
What if he gets married, he or she gets married to a US citizen na pwede siyang mag-file in 3 years? Pwede ba yun?
Oo.
Pwede yun?
Yeah, pwede yun.
Mas
Pero
bibilis,
okay.
oo.
LPR siya ngayon, right?
Yung halimbawa nga, yung kaso yung tinatanong ni ni Renz,
Mhm.
kung nag-asawa yung anak niya
Mhm.
ng American citizen, di ba, LPR pa rin siya, pero magiging 3 years na lang ba ang kanyang waiting period
Waiting.
para
So single yung
mag-naturalization?
anak. Oo, single yung
Oo,
anak. Yes.
single. Oo.
Yes, when you are married to a US citizen, 3 years lang ang ang waiting period mo. So magsi-citizen ka na.
So
Oo,
pwede
siya.
palang nagaganon.
Oo.
Okay.
May solusyon pala. See, maraming solusyon.
Hindi. Merong note ulit dito sa chat box si Luz.
Mhm.
Mas madali ba ang waiting period if the reason family unification?
No, it doesn't matter. The NVC determines which category is up for processing, whose priority date is up. Yung family unity, we use that only for justification in appeals, in humanitarian waivers. It's some esoteric concept na hindi based sa law na ginagamit nating justification why we need to prove our case,
Thank you.
It's a general principle.
Oo nga, no?
Diba?
Meron pa bang gustong magtanong habang andito pa si Attorney Lutz? She will be leaving in a little while. At siguro pakiusap ko rin sa iba na maya-maya in a few minutes mag-turn on kayo ng camera ng magpapa-picture tayo if you don't mind na andito tayong lahat. So, meron akong mga alam na may anak na nakikinig ngayon na may anak na nasa Amerika. Baka meron kayong gustong itanong kasi na-mention kanina ni Attorney Lutz, ang nanay o tatay, ang parent ng isang American citizen ay immediate relative. So, baka meron kayong mga dagdag na katanungan. Kung wala, going tayo.
As a closing, meron akong i-share. Na-share ko ba to? Meron akong i-share na joke na before when I was preparing this outline, ito yung joke na nakita ko. Isang tao, pumunta sa embassy for his visa interview. Tapos tinanong siya ng officer, where in the US are you going? Ang sagot niya, I'm going to San Jose. So sinabi nung officer, sir, in the US, J is pronounced as H. Oh, okay. So I'm going to San Jose. How long are you staying? And he goes, I'm staying there from January to June. Yun. So ang resulta, visa rejected. This is how I want to close. The USCIS is not an agency we can mess with. So we have to tell them the truth. We have to be very careful that all our documents are consistent with each other. And marami rin sa practice kaming nagugulat na biglang nagugulat kami, 3 ang asawa, mga ganyan. Pero katulad ng mga problema nung diniscuss natin, laging may explanation at laging may solusyon, Just stick with the truth. Yun ang hinihingi ng Immigration Service at yun din ang hinihingi siguro ng mga abogadong may encounter nyo. And whatever difficulty, whatever kinks will be in your petition, as long as you stick with the truth, then you'll be okay. And plus the fact that, of course, like I keep saying, let's not mess with the immigration officers. So with that, thank you po sa pag-imbita sa akin. Sana nakatulong. At ako'y nag-enjoy naman po sa pag-share sa inyo. Marami pa po tayong experiences, pero alam ko may time limit tayo. Thank you very much. And this is my number if you want to text me. Okay, stop sharing. There you go.
Thank you very much muli. At natutuwa naman ako, dumadami na yung mga participants natin, lalo na galing Pilipinas. Umaga to ngayon, Sunday morning.
Sunday.
Kaya thank you very much sa inyong lahat for participating. Gagawin natin, if you don't mind, si Secretary Ice namin will take our picture. Kaya kung maaari, kung may we request everyone to turn on their cameras. Paano bang, Ice, just tell us if you're ready to take our picture. Ice?
Okay po. Page 1. 1, 2. Smile. Page 2 po. Smile lang po. 1, 2, 3. Page 3. Isa pa po. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you, Ren. Meron kaming gagawad sa yung pasasalamat. Isang certificate, Attorney Luch Noel. Noel? Wala yata si Noel. Noel, are you there? Babasahin lang.
Ang alin?
Ito, certificate. Ayan na.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Certificate of Appreciation, Rotary Club of Kagitingan, Cubao, is presented. The certificate of appreciation is presented to Attorney Emilus Reyes in grateful recognition and commendation for her valuable effort and exemplary performance as a resource speaker on Public Service Program Part 2 webinar, petitioning for a family member by U.S. citizens and green card holders. Given this 4th day of December 2022 at RC Kagitingan Cubao's webinar, signed by Rotarian Doris Vanasdale, Chair, Satellite Club of Kagitingan Cubao, and President Alvin Mangona, RC Kagitingan Cubao.
Thank you.
Thank you
Salamat
very
po.
much. Thank you very much muli, Attorney Emilus. Siya po ay honorary member ng Kagitingan Cubao, and it's such an honor and privilege to have you with us. We know that you're also very busy. Pwede bang palakpakan natin siya?
Ay, salamat po.
Clap, clap, clap.
My pleasure. I really had a great time. Maganda sanang ma-address natin yung lahat ng katanungan, but I had a great time. I'll stick around.
Okay. Now we go to the second part of our webinar for today. Na-mention na to na-mention kanina ni Attorney Luch na ang tungkol sa mga adopted children. Marami rin nagtatanong sa akin. Naabot ako dito sa Amerika ng mga katanungan mula sa Pilipinas or dito rin, paano ba ang adoption ngayon? Totoo ba na administrative proceeding na lang? hindi na kailangan na nagtatagal sa korte. Ang sasagot po niya na magbibigay sa atin ng basics muli ay isa ring abogado. Siya po ay based sa Pilipinas at ipapakilala siya ni Rotarian Baby Roy. Baby, take it away, please.
Hi, good evening to those in the US and good morning to those in the Philippines. I'm pleased to introduce our second speaker, Attorney Minerva Ambrosio or Attorney June. Attorney June Ambrosio is also obtained her law degree from the University of the Philippines. So same as our first speaker, Attorney Luch, and also same as my sister, Pipi Dori. Since her becoming a lawyer or passing the bar, she has been a private practitioner at the Ambrosio Law Office. So that's from 1984 to the present. Her practice is predominantly family law with cases involving women and children, particularly on domestic violence, child abuse, children in conflict with the law, adoption, which will be her topic for today, involuntary commitment, and civil cases such as marital nullity, legal separation, child custody, property, and criminal litigation. So very broad ang practice ni Attorney June Ambrosio. So she was the National Director of the National Center for Legal Aid from 2013 to 2015 and also from 2017 to 2019. That's the National Center for Legal Aid of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines, which, as you know, is the umbrella organization to which all Philippine lawyers are members. So as a National Director and head of the Legal Aid Center, she led a team of 10 deputy directors, paralegals, and legal staff in overseeing the IBP legal aid committees in every region and province throughout the Philippines. Attorney June was a retainer lawyer of the Department of Social Welfare and Development National Capital Region from 1992 to 2021. As a retainer lawyer of the NCR Regional Office, she handled cases of child abuse, children in conflict with the law, special proceedings cases such as petitions for involuntary commitment, and others. Attorney June is currently the president of the Child Justice League Incorporated, which was the first non-governmental organization of lawyers to render legal service to children, both victims and children in conflict with the law. Some of you may remember the Halos Hos case, si Romy Halos Hos. Attorney June with her team was worked on the Halos Hos case. From 2021 to the present, she has been supervising lawyer for the De La Salle Legal Aid Center of the DLSU College of Law. And from 1992 to the present, she has been with the Legal Aid Committee of the UP Women Lawyers Circle. Willow Siba ang pronunciation. From 2020 to 2022, she has been the Vice President for Judicial Affairs and member Board of Trustees of the UP Willow C. This is an organization of female lawyers who are alumni of the UP College of Law and who extend legal assistance to disadvantaged women. So we are pleased to have today Attorney June, who is going to draw from her very varied and expert experience in order to share with us on this topic of updates on adoption laws in the Philippines. Welcome again, Attorney June, and the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, baby. Ay magandang umaga po sa atin sa mga nasa Philippines at magandang gabi naman dyan po sa nasa States. Andito pa ba si Sis Luch? Good afternoon yata sa kanyang parte ng US din. Excuse me.
Gabi na rin dito.
Sorry, hi? Yes,
Gabi
yes.
na rin dito.
Gabi na rin. Oh, good evening na rin sa'yo, Sis
Good
Luch.
evening.
Alam nyo, pag si Sis Dory ang nag-imbita, never can say no. Sis ko po sa sorority, Portia sorority, si Sis Dory Roy, at saka si Sis Luch. Siyempre, kami po ay miyembro po ng UP WLOC, UP Women Lawyers Circle, na dahil alumni rin pareho ng UP College of Law. With your kind permission, Sis Luch, gagamitin kong launching point yung binanggit mo kanina about Filipinos adopting dito sa Philippines, and they need to show that the adoptee must have been under the parental authority of the adopter for at least 24 months or 2 years. Kasi po meron po ako naging tatlo, I'm not sure anymore, no, na mga Filipinos po na nag-adapt po dito. But the latest that I can remember, nangyari po, ang inadapt niya ay pamangkin niya. So, nagsimula po kami, nag-adapt siya kunyari ngayon na 2020, matagal na to, prior pa nga to dito sa bagong law. Tapos hindi naman siya, alam niya nga yung condition na yan, di ba? For the child to gain a visa dahil adopted siya, 24 months ang kinakailangan. So, ginagawa naman niya, umuwi siya at least, I think, 2 or 3 times a year para po nakikita niya yung bata, and then lagi silang may online na pag-uusap. So, when we finish the adoption, so one of the effects of adoption, syempre yun nga po tinatawag na parental authority, is counted retroactively from the time nag-file ng petition. Pero by the time we finish the petition, kulang pa, less than 2 months. On the average, ang isa pong adoption case would take at least 1.5 years. So natapos namin yung kanyang kaso, less than 2 years or less than the 24 months. So syempre gusto niya madala yung bata sa Amerika para makasama na niya. I think what he did, at hindi lang naman pala dito sa Pilipinas nangyayari yun, pwedeng sumulat sa congressman. That's what I think he did. He wrote to the state congressman and he asked for some kind of endorsement or waiver. Ano bang tawag doon, si Lutz? Na binigay naman nung congressman, kaya po nabigyan yung bata agad ng visa. Kahit yung parental authority is less than 24 months. Tama ba yun, Sis Lutz? Pwede yun? Ay, baka wala na yata si Sis. Anyway, so ganun po nangyari. I think somebody is calling. I will have to just tell. Nasaan yung phone ko? Oh, here. Sandali mo.
Sis June, andito pa ako habang ginagawa mo yan. Yes,
Sige nga,
actually,
please.
the 2 years is
I'm in a webinar.
the 2 years from the time actually na dapat ipakita mong naalis na yung bata sa custody ng natural parent. So there's also a case law on that. So mahalaga yung pagkaalis.
Thank you for the save, Sis Lutz. Apo ko
No
yun.
problem.
Kaya hindi ko pwede hindi sagutin, magtatampo yung she's a 2-year-old granddaughter of mine na laging tumatawag ng ganitong oras kasi gusto na niyang pumunta rito. Okay, sige. So yun po. So makikita po natin yan na ang adoption cases po natin tumatagal. Yun lang yung sinasabi ko, yung 1.5 years minimum. Sa court pa lang yun ha, at dun sa dating proseso po natin. Because before that, pag yung dumadaan si tinatawag natin, I'll explain later, yung si Dikla, Sis Dory, ako ba magpa-flash nung screen, nung aking PowerPoint, o kayo na? I forwarded it to you. If,
pwedeng ikaw na lang.
Sige, share screen na lang
Pwede
ako.
ka maka-share screen.
Sure, sandali lang. Let me look for it.
Para yung timing tamang-tama.
Okay. Sa totoo lang, I have 55 slides. So anyway, you have the PowerPoint and I will siguro i-go-gloss over ko na lang, no, para mabilis. Teka, share screen. There. Yan. Can you see it? Can everyone see it?
Yes.
Okay, so this is RA 11642. Ito ay pinasa nga dahil nga nakita nila napakatagal nga ng proseso nga daw ng adoption dito sa atin sa Philippines, ano, kasi bago doon may proseso pang pinadadaanan, yung tinatawag na SIDICLAA, that's the certificate declaring a child legally available for adoption. Matagal po ako nagtrabaho with the DSWD, mahilig po sila sa mga kung ano-anong abbreviations at acronyms. So maririnig nyo, meron po diyang papalare na mag-adopt, may SIDICLAA, PAPA means Pre-Adoption Placement Authority. So gano'n. Marami po silang ginagamit na mga ano. Anyway, yung SIDICLAA nga, katagal nun. Kasi kailangan i-declare yung bata na legally available for adoption. So dadaan sa local government. Pagdating sa local government, papanik pa yan sa regional office ng DSWD, tapos mula sa DSWD, kung ayos na lahat ang papeles, dun palang aakyat sa court. So matagal, yung lalo pa nung inabot ng pandemic, talagang umabot ng 2-3 years yung ordinaryo na dapat ay matapos natin in 1.5 years. Anyway, so teka ha, I need to do slideshows. Sandali. Okay, sige. So, nakikita nyo kasi maraming nakaharang. Paano ba yan? How do I stop? Nakikita nyo po ba? Kasi
Kitang-kita.
okay lang.
Nakikita.
Sige.
Nag-full
Yeah.
screen na. Yes, nag-full screen na. Okay na.
Okay, sige. So, ito yung mga declaration of policies, no? Ang number one, syempre, ang lagi nating ginagamit na standard, best interest of the child. It's not the interest of the parents, it's not the interest of the adopters. Yung bata lagi ang nagiging focal point kung ano ang pinakamaganda para sa ikabubuti ng bata. So, ini-ensure natin ang isang bata should always have, ang priority lagi ng government, ng Estado, is for the child to remain with the biological family. Pero sabi nga ni Sis Lutz, the reality is really far from what is on paper and what is on ng policy. Kasi madami tayong bata na abuso, maraming batang na abandon. Kaya meron tayong nagkaroon ng alternative childcare. Nag-o-offer ang gobyerno ng if the parents are incapable, are unfit, abusive, they have abandoned their children, etc., magbibigay ng alternative childcare arrangement ang government. So, yun pong in objective nitong law, to provide, to simplify nga the domestic adoption proceedings by making it administrative. So, ibig sabihin, one-stop shop na lang yan. Kaya nagkaroon tayo ng NACC, the National the National Authority on Child Care. Ito na po ang supposed to be ang magte-take care nitong lahat ng proseso relating to childcare, including domestic adoption, no? Natin. Pero pag ang bata naman po ay na-adopt na, pinoprotektahan din naman ng state yung adoptive parents na hindi maistorbo yung kanilang pagiging magulang, tunay na magulang dito sa kung sino mga in-adopt. Siyempre, mapapanood natin siguro sa mga telenovela, biglang may susulpot. Anak ko yan, lalo na kung sumikat yung bata, no? Naging child actor na siya, child actress, so biglang mayroon kung saan na magke-claim na anak niya nga to. Yun nga yung naging experience namin dito kay Halos Hos, nung itong batang to ay nag-file ng kaso kay Halos Hos, biglang na-dig up ni Halos Hos yung biological mother nitong bata. Kasi itong batang to, nung siya pinanganak, simulated birth ang nangyari, yung parang well, to use the word in polite company, bugaw ni nung nanay, si Delantar, ginawa niya, nilagay niya yung pangalan ng bata under his name and under his sister's name na parang pinalabas na sila yung magulang. So, nung nagkakaso-kaso na nga tong bata, biglang ba sumulpot yung nanay claiming siya daw yung biological mom and dapat daw siya nasa kanyang parental authority at custody yung bata. Siyempre, hindi siya pinagbigyan kasi the moment she allowed herself, to be used by Delantar by signing over her parental rights, her parental authority, kasama siya pumirma siya siya yung pumasok sa ospital pero fake na pangalan ng ginamit niya. Waiver yon ng kanyang pagiging magulang, pagiging ina. Kaya hindi pinakinggan. Kahit po sinasabi niya, nagpupumilit siya, DNA test niyo ko, dinimanda niya kaming lawyers, dinimanda niya ang DSWD trying to get back the child. Hindi pa rin po siya pinakinggan. Okay? So part of that, sa law ay mag-conduct ng public information, magkaroon po ng streamlining ng government and private sector agencies and services para po mapabilis nga po ang proseso ng domestic adoption petitions at saka adoption-related services. At isa dito ay para matanggal yung stigma. Parte po ng programa na ginagawa ng gobyerno ay yung palawakin ang ating pangunawa tungkol sa pag-aampon, legal na pag-aampon. Alam mo, di ba minsan yung mayroon tayong mga instances yung bata mabubuli. Kaya sabihin, ay, ampon, bakit di ka kamukha ng nanay tatay mo, iba yung ganyan-ganyan. So, ngayon, parte po ng program ng government ay tinuturuan yung mga adopters na sasabihin agad na yung bata ay ampon, huwag itatago at ipapaliwanag, bigyan ng tamang guidance yung magulang at yung bata na hindi ito isang nakakahiyang pangyayari. Ito ay isang blessing. Ito ay isang normal na sistema na para magkaroon ng tamang pangangalaga isang bata. At kasama din dito, isa sa mga policies o isa sa mga objectives po pala ng batas na to ay yung pagtigil ng posibleng trafficking. So meron pong cooperation with the IACAT, Interagency Council Against Trafficking, para po hindi ma-traffic itong mga bata na gagawin sa pamamagitan ng pag-aampon. So, medyo marikutitos. Meron nga isang kaso yung isang foreigner, ko sinong bright na lawyer daw yung nakausap niya. Basta binigay sa kanya yung bata, sinilit niya sa kanyang, meron siyang malaking traveling bag. Pumunta siya sa NAIA, nakapasok siya hanggang doon sa immigration. Tapos doon lang yata umiyak yung bata. Tsaka lang napansin na, may bata dito. Siyempre, trafficking yan. Na-demanda yung foreigner na yun. The child is with the DSWD. I think yan, pumasok po sa sistema natin na inapa-adapt yung batang yon. Ano pa? So, ito po, no child should be a subject of administrative adoption unless ma-declare po itong batang to na legally available for adoption. But not in cases of relative or step-parent adoption. Hindi na po kinakailangan na i-declare pa yung batang legally available for adoption. Yan, maririnig niyo yung salitang yan, IP or independent placement cases. Ito yung mga nangyayaring bibigay ng isang tao dun sa isang tao na, ikaw na bahala, alagaan mo na yung anak ko. Kaya relative na hindi niya kayang alagaan, ibibigay yung bata basta yung pamangkin or yung pinsan or yung anak sa isang kamag-anak, di ba? Kinakailangan po ngayon ng intervention ng government. Pag hindi, kasi merong tayong tinatawag na degree of relatives na up to the 4th civil degree of consanguinity or affinity, yon hindi na kinakailangan ng CDCLAA. Pero beyond that, kinakailangan po ang intervention ng government through the issuance of ASDICLAA. Okay, ito nga po yung National Authority on Child Care. Yan po ang pumalit sa dating Inter-Country Adoption Board. Lahat po ng functions ng courts ay dito na po dadaan ngayon sa NACC. Right now, dahil bagong-bago po yung batas, January 22, 2022 pa lang po naging batas ito, nasa transition stage pa po ang NACC. And it's the DSWD through its regional offices ang siyang gumagawa po muna ng functions ng NACC. Makita po natin later on ano po itong mga functions na ito. Okay, so ano po ba itong mga hinahawakan nila bukod sa issuance ng sidikla at saka domestic adoption, pati inter-country adoption, sila rin po may hawak. Ano yung foster care? Merong foster care po, foster care law na ano ba to? 20, I'm not sure anymore, ilang years na, matagal na po yung foster care. So yun po, pwede pong pumunta, di ba ako gusto kong mag-alaga ng bata, maraming bata, pero ito ay pansamantala lang. Hindi po ito, wala pong na-establish na parental authority or successional rights like adoption. Ito ay talagang pangangalaga lang. Ano ang kabutihan po? Bakit nagko-foster care? In fact, ang nangyayari kasi bawal nga yung sinasabing pre-selection ng bata, yung parang nagsa-shopping ka ng tuta o ng pet, ito gusto ko tong batang to kasi cute. So, yung iba ang ginagawa para limaraman kung makakasundo nila yung bata, kung kaya talaga nila yung mag-alaga ng bata, nagko-foster care muna. Kailangan po silang mag-register as a foster parent. I-issuehan sila ng foster parent authority. Tsaka parang po may kontrata yan, etc. So there's a parang I think 1 or 2 years ang pwedeng maging foster parent. And after that, yung iba nagtutuloy i-file maging adoption. Okay. So ano po ba yung other forms? Alternative care. So kinship care, residential care. Nangyayari po ito doon sa mga bata na abuse na kailangan tanggalin sa kanilang family homes kasi doon yung nagiging nangyayari yung abuse. O kaya ito yung mga batang abandon na hindi na inaalagaan ng tama. So pwede po silang ilagay under those alternative care arrangements. Yung rectification of simulated birth naman, ito nga po yung sinasabi na ito yung birth certificate ng bata para palabasin na anak ng isang tao. Pero for a person to avail of this, dapat itong batang to ay siya yung, ako yung nag-fake, ako yung nag-alaga dahil gusto kong alagaan tong batang to. Kinuha ko kunyari sa ospital, tapos yung nanay, marami na masyadong anak, hindi kaya mag-alaga. Inilagay ko sa pangalan ko. So yung simulated birth certificate na yun, that can be rectified dito po sa RACO na to para maging, para later maging parte ng adoption. Pero hindi pwede ba ako, finake ko yung birth certificate para lang maipamigay ko yung bata, ay yung bawal po yun kasi lalabas pong trafficking yun. Okay. So ito pong certificate of declaring a child legally available for adoption or for short CDCLA, ito po ay ini-issue sa dalawang instances. So may tinatawag kaming involuntary commitment at meron din kami tinatawag na voluntary commitment. Nung lawyer po ako ng DSWD, I used to file petitions for involuntary commitment. So ito po yung petition that the DSWD files with the court kapag meron silang mga bata na biktima nga ng abuse, discrimination, abandonment. So sila po ay kukunin ng DSWD, ilalagay sa pangangalaga nila. So this will be filed, the petition will be filed against the parents or the legal guardians kasi hindi mo inaalagaan ng maayos yung bata, naabuso, etc. Okay? So pag nabigay po yon, yung kailangan ako mag-present syempre ng evidence of the abuse or the abandonment, kung ano man yan, at mag-grant yun, may 3 months following that na pwedeng magpakita yung magulang o yung legal guardian na nawala na yung basihan nung bakit yung batang yan ay kunyari abuse. Nangyari yan halimbawa doon sa isang kaso. Yung bata ay naiwan sa isang kamag-anak. Yung pala, yung nanay na OFW, hindi niya alam na yung anak niya ay naabuso o napapabayaan. So nung malaman niya yun, umuwi siya. At pinakita niya, hindi ko pinapabayaan yung anak ko. Ibang tao yan. So in that case, yung involuntary commitment na yun ay pwedeng baliktarin. Ibalik yung bata sa kanyang magulang. Okay? Ito namang voluntary commitment, ito po ay ginagawa ng magulang o legal guardian mismo. Meron pong pinipirmahan, ang tawag po dyan ay Deed of Voluntary Commitment or DVC, na doon sinasabi nung magulang o nung legal guardian na ako ay hindi na ako capable of taking care of this child, kung kaya't itin-turn over ko na ang pangangalaga sa DSWD. Bago naman mangyari yun, meron pong counseling, kinakausap na mabuti ng social worker, totoo ba yan? Baka may ibang options, baka meron kang mahingang tulong sa kamag-anak mo. Hindi agad-agad pinagpapayagan na pumirma ng DVC yung isang magulang o legal guardian. Diba? Kasi yun nga ang gusto ng gobyerno as much as possible, ng Estado, as much as possible, the child stays with the biological family. Okay, but in cases na talagang sabihin they went through the process, pumirma pa rin, meron pa rin siyang 3 months after signing. Halimbawa, nagbago yung isip niya, kaya bumalik yung asawa niya o meron siyang nahanap na pwede niyang katuwang sa pag-aalaga ng bata. Nagpalit siya ng isip, may 3 months siya within which to regain the custody of that child. Pero ganun bang kadali yun? Pagbalik o pagkuha ulit ng custody, hindi. Hindi ho yan parang SM na merong courtesy vote. Iwan ko muna yung anak ko balikan ko after 3 months. Hindi ganun. Merong dadaan siya na tinatawag na PCAR, Parental Capability Assessment, Parental Capability Assessment. Tapos may report. So yun yung PCAR. Na kailangang mapatunayan niya doon sa social worker na gagawa na talagang kaya na niya mag-alaga doon sa kanyang anak. So for foundlings, yung mga nahanap dyan na iniwanan lang, meron din siyang 3 months, tapos po ay mabibigyan siya ng foundling certificate or birth certificate. Okay, ito po yung proseso para po sa SIDICLA. So yung SIDICLA, ipa-file po yun dun sa RACO nga, kung saan nahanap yung bata. Kung nandito ang DSWD NCR ay ang field office nandiyan sa Ligarda, no? Ang R Region 4A nandun po sa Alabang. And I think 4B somewhere here in Manila rin for some strange reason wala sa 4A wala sa Region 4 ang kanilang mga regional offices. Anyway, so doon po fina-file yung petition na yon. So si RACO titingnan niya yung petition, yung supporting documents, kung ano man yon, may posting yan. And then kung ayos po ito ay aakyat dito sa kanyang office, sa executive director, at kung ayos lahat ng papeles, ito po ay mai-issuehan ng SIDICLA. Okay, so ang nagagagawa po ng petition, yun nga pong head or executive director ng isang licensed or accredited child caring or child placement agencies. Kasama po din dyan ang mga social welfare development officer ng probinsya, city, or municipal social officers. So yun po ang nagpa-file ng petition for SIDICLA, affidavit form, at andun po yung mga facts, circumstances showing kung bakit siya ay abandoned, neglected, or voluntarily committed, or na-discover o nakita yung isang foundling. Yun po ang mga basis of a SIDICLA. Yan po yung mga documents na kailangan i-attach doon sa SIDICLA. Hindi ko na di-discuss ng kasi medyo hindi naman natin talaga ang mas concern po dito ay yung mga gumagawa po ng SIDICLA. But if you are, kasama po kayo dito sa limbawa, may gusto kayo i-adopt and yung bata ay nag-form, ito po yung mga hihingin sa inyong mga dokumento. Yung written certification for a radio television station, ang in charge dyan yung pong gumawa ng petition. Yung publication, syempre gastos po ito nung tao na gustong kumuha ng sindikla. Police report, barangay certification, kung saan nahanap yung bata. May hanggang ngayon may nakalagay yung Philippine Red Cross na yan, pero sa totoo lang never ko kung nagamit yan kasi hanggang police report or barangay certificate lang tayo. And then what else? Registered mail, yung kailangan mong ipadala doon sa last known address ng magulang o relatives kung alam. Pero alam niyo naman gaano kabagal ang registered mail, so mas gusto po natin gamitin siguro ngayon LBC or one of those authorized couriers para sigurado pong may proof na talagang nagpadala doon sa last known address. Yes? Birth certificate, recent photograph. So yung photograph ng bata ngayon at saka at the time na nahanap yung bata. Okay. So, sino po ba ang pwedeng mag-adopt? Let's go now to adoption proper. So, any Filipino citizen, at least 25 years of age, at wala po siyang conviction na siya po ay na-involved or na-convict of a crime involving moral turpitude, good moral character, emotionally, psychologically capable, 16 years older than the adoptee, at may financial capacity. So mamaya pag-discuss natin ano ba yung mga proof na kailangan para po i-prove itong mga qualifications na to. So sino pa yung legal guardian with respect to the person, yung kanyang guardian, yung kanyang ward. Tapos yung foster child, pwede rin po. Ito po, bakit nilagay itong Philippine government officials and employees deployed or stationed abroad? Kasi ang nagiging experience nga, yung mga, lalo ngayon, ang OFWs natin, yung mga bata nila, minsan nangyayari, nabubuntis, nanganganak doon, but they have no way of going home, ilalagak nila. Kaya dami nating cases, yung mga embassies, konsulados natin, bigla na lang, may bata rito. Tapos hindi naman malaman saan galing yung batang yun. So yung mga government officials na to, pwede po silang mag-adopt. At alam mo naman natin, di ba, lalo yung mga, hindi naman lahat, pero a lot of our government officials, employees, yung mga DFA, mga ambassadors, mga consuls natin, dahil po sa demands ng trabaho nila, marami po sa kanila ay single. So pag kaya nangyayari, may bata, na-adopt nila. Ganun po nangyayari dyan. Okay, foreign nationals are also eligible to adopt. Kailangan lang permanent resident. Ngayon 5 years na. Dati at least 3 years tinaas po nila, ginawa nila lang 5 years ngayon. Of course, required na yung country that they are nationals or citizens of, dapat may diplomatic relations with the Philippines, and they will allow the adoptee to enter the country of the adopter using that certificate of adoption, and that child will be considered the legal child of adopter, allowed entry into the country of the adopter. Okay. Ito naman yung requirements for foreign nationals, pero that can be waived in these cases. Basta gusto niya mag-adopt, yung asawa niya, merong anak o kaya relative within the 4th civil degree of consanguinity or affinity. So yun, adopting the legitimate child of the Filipino spouse and one married to a Filipino citizen. Okay. Okay, alam po natin that as the spouses shall jointly adopt except in the following cases, pag yung isa, meron siyang biological child, di niya na kailangan i-adopt yun. Kasi the idea being, kaya ina-adopt to raise the status of the child to a legitimate child. Kung legitimate child mo naman to, na annul na yung kasal mo, and now you got married to somebody else, yung spouse na yon has to adopt that biological child of yours, and that in that case, kinakailangan lang yung consent nung biological father and the adoptee 10 years and above. Okay, so if one spouse seeks to adopt his own illegitimate spouse, in that case, pati yung biological parent of that illegitimate child has to adopt. The idea being to raise the status of the child to legitimate. So hindi lang yung spouse, pati ako, dahil illegitimate yung child na yan, pati ako mag-a-adapt sa sarili kong anak. At kung legally separated, yung spouses from each other. Okay. So who may be adopted naman? So ang general rule, any child who has been issued as sidiklaan, yung legitimate spouse of one spouse, the illegitimate spouse by a qualified adopter to improve the status of legitimacy, a Filipino of legal age. Bakit legal age? Dati po kasi bata lang ang pwedeng i-adopt, but even before, even under the old adoption law, but ito sinabi din dito, as long as that person has been treated has been considered, has been treated as a child of the adopter, kahit lumampas na ng 18, above 18, pwede siyang i-adopt pa rin, or at least 3 years, nakalagay, merong na at least 3 years. So considered a child of that adopter for at least 3 years. Ang nagiging problema lang dito, kung foreigner yung nag-a-adopt, minsan pagdating doon sa country ng foreigner, merong cut-off age. So dapat below 18 or 19 or whatever age. So nagkakaroon ng problema dahil nga minsan tumatagal o hindi agad na adopt. Minsan dumarating yung bata sa kanila, mag-18 na tapos napamahal, gustong i-adopt, nagkakaproblema going to the country dahil may cut-off age. So in that case, ginagawa ng paraan ng adopter, kung yan, like siguro sa US, hahanap ng way to get a waiver, na nangyayari naman po. Okay, so who else may be adopted? Foster child, a child whose adoption has been rescinded, and a child whose biological or adoptive parents have died, or relative of the adopter. So these are the persons who may be adopted. Pagdating sa consent, may mga kailangan kuning consent dito. So, of course, yung adoptee, 10 years and above, biological parents of the child, if known, or the legal guardian, or in this case, kung if the child has been issued as sidiklaan, yung dati kasi ang nag-i-issue yung government, meron tinatawag ACA, adoption, affidavit of consent to adoption. Okay. Who else? Children, legitimate and adopted children of the adopter. Pag illegitimate naman, 10 years old and above also, and they have to be living with the adopter. But ako in my case, just to be safe, kahit po yung illegitimate child, lalo na if the adopter has acknowledged, has treated the illegitimate child like a real, like a real child, kinukuha ko pa rin yung consent nung illegitimate child kahit hindi magkasama sila sa bahay. Spouse, if any, of the person adopting, lalo na syempre kasi minsan the adoptee may be above 18, so nakapag-asawa na, kailangan ding kunin yung consent ng spouse niya. Okay, so ito po yung process naman. Bago po makapag-file, maraming din na kailangan gawin So isa dito, searching for the biological parent or parents para po makuha yung kanilang consent at malaman kung gusto ba talaga nilang pa-adopt yung bata. Minsan nahanap, minsan hindi. Kasama yan, yun nga, through radio, television, ads, tapos publication. Minsan nahanap, minsan hindi. Counseling services for the biological parents and for the PAPs. That's the prospective adoptive parents. Isa pa yan sa mga abbreviation po ng DSW, PAPs or PAPs, prospective adoptive parents. So kailangan silang bigyan ng counseling, yung biological parents, kung talaga bang payag sila na pa-adopt, naintindihan po ba nila yung consequences ng pagpayag nila o pagbigay ng consent nila to the adoption. Yung PAPS naman, mas marami pang requirement ito. In fact, meron silang required forum na kailangan nilang i-attend where they are given ano yung realities of adoption, ano yung requirement of adoptions, or what is expected of them as adopting parents, when should they tell the child that the child is adopted, how are they going to deal with issues na yung bata pag malaki na gustong hanapin yung biological parents niya, o kaya nagkakaroon ng emotional or psychological issue yung bata dahil parang feeling niya inabandon siya ng totoo niyang magulang, yung ganon. So may mga ganong binibigyan na seminar, binibigay na seminar for the PAPS. So kung may opposition naman to the petition for Sidiclaa, well, later on ho yan, pag nagkaroon na nung Sidiclaa, papakinggan bakit ba nagkaroon ng opposition. Nagbago yung isip ng biological parents, merong humahabol na kung sinong dapat yung kunyari yung grandparents, gusto ko yung apo ko, dapat bakit ibinigay ng anak ko yan, bakit hindi sa akin, di ba? Tapos ito, gathering of documents. Maraming documents pong kinakailangan para po sa pag-file ng petition for adoption. Okay. So ito yung mga documentary requirements for the petition for adoption. Home study, yung home study, ang gumagawa po niyan, para po yan doon sa adoptive parents. So yung social worker will visit the home of the adoptive parents. The child may or may not be there. Pwedeng sabay yung child study report, magkaiba po yun, home study at child study. So yung child study, that's strictly for the child, home studies for the parents. So yung social worker po ang gumagawa niyan. Okay. Authenticated or security paper, ito po yung mga birth certificates, marriage certificate na kinakailangang kunin po sa PSA. Kailangang isubmit po yan kung annulled yung adoptive parents, yung PAPs o nag-divorce, they have to submit all of those. Party po yan. Okay, ano pa? Clearances. So, NBI or PNP. Dati kasi kailangan both NBI and PNP. Tapos meron pang court clearances kung saan nakatira. Regional Trial Court, MTC, Office of the City Prosecutor, to prove na walang nakasampa o hindi ka na-demanda ng kung anong krimen. So yung mga written consent to the adoptions, and then death certificate ng biological parents if applicable. Ano pa? Can I remove this? Kasi hindi ko makita eh. Wait. Ano to? Results of mga medical certificates and psychological evaluation reports of the PAPs if the child is, I think 7 na yata ngayon. 7, di ba? Dati 10 years old eh. Na kailangan na rin ng psychological, 5 na lang pala. Sorry, 5 years old and above. Kinakailangan na din ng psychological evaluation report. Okay, child care plan. Ang dating hinihingi affidavit of temporary guardianship. This is in case something happens to the adoptive parents, namatay, nawala, na-incapacitate. So kailangan silang mag-appoint ng dito 3 na at least 3 temporary guardians who can take care of the child in those cases, no, namatay, etc. Character reference letters of at least 3 non-relative character reference. So sinasabi na si Juan de la Cruz, mabuting tao yan, he's capable of taking care of the child, etc. So in that letter, andun yung contact number. Ito po ay importante because the social worker will contact this character reference letter writer para po malaman, syempre i-vet niya yung information, totoo ba yan, tama ba yung sinasabing information doon. What else? So recent photographs of the child, and then financial capacity. Ano po ba yung mga financial capacity? It doesn't matter kung MVP, I mean money Villar level kayo or money Pangilinan level ang yaman nyo. You just need to show na kaya niyong alagaan yung bata. So kahit isang bank account, isang bank certificate, ITR for the last year, stock certificates, etc. Just anything to show na talagang kaya niyong alagaan yung bata. Okay, so right now the NACC is in the process na of crafting standardized forms para mas madali ang paggawa po ng pag-submit nitong mga documentary requirements. Hindi na po kailangan gumawa ng affidavit, pupunta pa kayo sa abogado, gagawa ng affidavit para dito. Ang NACC is doing that at the moment. Okay. Ito po yung process of administrative adoption. So case study nga, we already discussed that. Ano yung matching process? Yung matching process, nagsisimula to even at the stage of foster care. Hindi mo basta pwedeng kunin sa bata, yan gusto ko. Minamatch pa rin niya. Ibig sabihin, there's a committee na ito yung supposed to be prospective adoptive parent or yung foster parent, at ito yung bata. Titingnan nila, ito yung mga qualifications nitong parents, ito naman ang mga needs nung bata. Ina-assess nila yan, and they will have they will come up with a report. Usually naman wala namang akong nangyari ma-experience, wala naman na-reject dahil sa simula pa lang bago naman dumating sa matching process. Usually yung bata at saka yung prospective adoptive parents or foster care magkasama na yung bata nalipat na doon, meron na talaga silang at least some sort of relationship kahit binibisita lang nung prospective adoptive parents doon sa agency. So yung matching process is parang de kahon na proseso lang. What's this personal appearance of the prospective adoptive parents? Kailangan pong pumunta si Pap sa opisina ni social worker. At kaya si social worker ang pupunta doon sa bahay. Kaya itong inter-country adoption at the moment, ang alam ko ang pinoprocess nila yung mga naka-file na dati. But right now, I think hindi pa po ayos talaga yung paano kung nasa abroad ka and you want to adopt a child from here. Hindi ko alam kung papayagan nila kasi the Supreme Court already allowed video appearances sa mga cases, di ba? Meron kaming tinatawag na cross-border litigation na pwedeng online ng appearance, but in this case it's still being crafted. So hindi ko pa po alam honestly kung paano ang kanilang take pagdating sa prospective adoptive parents who are based abroad. So I already mentioned this, the PAPA or the Pre-Adoption Placement Authority is just a document saying that the child is now legally in the custody of the PAP. Okay? So ito yung petition for adoption. So there has to be that thriving parent-child relationship during the STC or the supervised trial custody period. So yun na nangyayari kung ito ay foster child. So meron na yung dati pa So nawi-waive na yun. O kaya yung step parent or relative adoption, nasa kanila na yung bata. Diba? So most of the time, yung STC parang dekahon na lang din yan. Okay. So where to file? Kung saan nakatira si petitioner, city or municipality, where the petitioner resides. So may publication for 3 consecutive weeks in a newspaper of general circulation. Pag sinabi natin general circulation, it can be as mainstream as in Manila Standard, Manila Bulletin, or as esoteric, as unknown as yung mga Thunderer, Challenger, pero they're considered newspaper of general circulation. Kaya lang mura yun kaysa sa mga mainstream na publication. Ba? So, no subsequent petition involving the same PAP shall be entertained unless prior petition has attained finality. Bakit po inilagay yan? Kasi minsan, may mga PAPs nag-adapt ngayon, sobrang natuwa sa kanilang in-adapt o adapin, gusto nila magpa-file ng bago o kasi may nakita sila, siguro maganda, may isang, may boy tayo, tapos may girl. So, they want to adopt again. But it's the policy nga of NACC na hindi muna pwedeng mag-adapt yung same set of PAPs unless magkaroon ng final decision doon sa naunang petition for adoption. Okay, ito yung mga ina-allege po, mention na natin, those are the qualifications of the petitioner. This shall be indicated in the petition. In the petition, doon niya pwede nilagay yung bagong pangalan. Siyempre, kung mapaguhin yung pangalan ng bata, di ba, kung foundling yan. Ang ginagawa usually sa foundling, ang nilalagay na pangalan, yung pangalan ng kung sino yung nakahanap eh. So yun yung lumalabas na apelyido ng bata, but in the petition for adoption you can already say ito yung gusto kong pangalan, so from Juan de la Cruz magiging Juan de Los Santos na yan. Okay, you have to indicate that. Okay, so ang NACC po ang mag-decide at kaya supposed to be mabilis, walang adversarial proceedings. Ibig sabihin, unlike ngayon, yung dating proseso, it's adversarial because the state through the Office of the Solicitor General has to be there to protect the interest of the state, to protect supposed to be the status of the child, the status of the biological parents. So nandun yung estado. So isa pa yun, I think, ang isa sa mga dahilan kung bakit tumatagal ang mga adoption proceedings dati. Pag palang fiscal, canceled yan. Tapos o kaya wala naman ako naging experience na nagkaroon ng opposition talaga ang OSG, but strangely, bibigyan pa rin ng isang hearing date ang OSG to present evidence after the petitioner has presented his or her evidence for the adoption. May isang setting pa for the OSG. Tapos sabi, siyempre, wala namang ebidensyang di ba? So ordinarily, pagdating sa mga cases, ngayon, nire-require all the parties, both the petitioner and the respondent, complainant, defendant, etc. Sa simula pa lang, andun na lahat. Alam mo na kung ano ebidensya, but still, they maintain that process na bibigyan ng one hearing date ang state. Okay, that's one. And then isa pa, bakit nagkakaroon ng delay? Pag nagkaroon na ng decision, you need to furnish the OSG, hindi lang OSG, pati yung Office of the City Prosecutor na inauthorize na naman ng OSG kung bakit hiwalay pa rin yung kanilang notice o yung kanilang receipt of the decision. Kailangan may proof nun. Ang nagiging problema, hindi ang OSG pala, minsan iipunin nila lahat ng kanilang mga return card at saka lang nila ibabalik sa mga court. So it takes time. So you don't know yung 15 days, supposed to be may 15 days appeal period. Hanggang hindi bumabalik yung return card from the OSG or from the Office of the City Prosecutor, hindi magkakaroon ng finality. So doon, isa pang delay yan. So what I do, that pag nagkaroon ako ng decision, favorable decision, syempre, from the court in an adoption case or an nullity case, sisiguruhin ko, magkaroon na yung, kakausapin ko na yung court officer, yung process server o yung sherry, ipa-serve mo na personal, babayaran ko na yan ng pang-serve, na mag-grab ka na o kung ano, para siguruhin lang na alam ko kung kailan ika-count yung 15 days na yun. Diba? Otherwise, naghihintay ka sa I don't know when. Diba? Okay. But it says here, all the domestic adoption cases shall be decided within 60 calendar days on the receipt of the Deputy Director for Services of the recommendation of the RACO on the petition. Bakit 60 days? Kasi ngayon dahil nga birthing pains pa po tayo, no, nahihirapan po yung mga ang DSWD handling these cases kasi nga bago pabalik-balik, kulang tong dokumento, kulang yan. So pagpasok pa lang, pagka-receive nung mga papeles na yon at magkaroon ng recommendation, dun magbibilang pa lang ng 60 days para lumabas yung resolution or decision on the adoption. Okay. Ay naku ma'am, ito medyo mahaba to. Siguro I won't discuss this anymore kasi miski sila sa DSWD ay naloloka dito sa kanilang sinet na timeline na 15 days, tapos yung pala pabalik-balik lang yung kanilang mga papers. So sa totoo lang, hindi nasusunod pa itong timeline na nilagay dito. So I will just gloss over this and then go, okay, kung merong objection nga sa petition, kailangan ipaalam yun. So kailangan, syempre, they have to verify and investigate ano yung basis naman ng objection to the petition. Okay, so yung order of the petition, it has the same effect as a decision of the court, yung mga dating decision of the court. And it can be used kapag pumunta abroad, ito yung proof that this child is legally adopted. Ito po yung i-register sa civil registry na document. Pero meron pa ring period. Bakit importante ho yung appeal period miski sa petitioner? Kasi na-experience ko po ito sa court. Minsan nagkakamali ang court, minsan sa pangalan. Mali yung spelling, mali yung tatlong pangalan, mali yung order ng pangalan. So the petitioner, hindi lang po yung kung sino man yung nag-o-object dito sa petition, ang kinakailangan yung period na yon to check kung tama yung order of adoption kasi ito yung magiging basis for the amended certificate of birth na kailangang i-register. Isa pa yung cause of delay yung registration na yan. Right under the old rule, under the old adoption proceedings, nagkaroon na ako ng decision, nagkaroon na ako ng finality. So ngayon, that or the decision and the finality, entry of judgment has to be submitted to the local civil registrar if the place where the court is situated. So kunyari, Quezon City nag-issue ng aking decision and finality, I have to go to the LCR of Quezon City to register the decision. Okay? Iba pa kung ang bata ay pinanganak, yung birth certificate, na original birth certificate niya ay Manila. So iba pa yun. Kailangan pang hiwalay pang filing yung iba, magkahiwalay na submission yung kung saan galing yung original birth certificate at saka kung saan nanggaling yung decision. Ito ngayon ang problema, bakit may delay? Kasi itong LCR na to for some blank reason, hindi certified true copy to. Syempre certified true copy isasubmit. Babalik pa yan sa court. I-verify kung tama. What's the point, di ba? Of submitting a certified true copy. Babalik na yun pala sa court. Bakit hindi na lang ang court sanang diretsong nag-file? Bakit iaasa nyo pa yun sa petitioner na mag-file? Tapos yung pala ko-questionin din yun. So yun, ko-questionin yung LCR ng Quezon City, ko-questionin na naman ng LCR ng Manila. Ang tagal niyan. Kaya tumatagal. Registration takes what? At least 2 to 3 months hanggang makarating sa PSA. Ganong katagal bago ka makakuha ng amended certificate of birth. Anyway, so yung amended certificate of birth, that will now become the only certificate of birth of this child. What happens to the original birth records? That should be sealed. So may tatak yung canceled at hindi to basta-basta pwedeng ipalabas kahit sa kanino lang. Talagang kailangan ng court order for this. Okay. So merong appeal din within 10 days. Otherwise, it becomes final and executory. Okay. Yun, may confidentiality, as we know that, at may penalties po for violating the confidentiality of the process of any of the documents. Hindi mo pwedeng basta ilabas or makuha kung wala ka namang kinalaman dito, at may process kahit ikaw ay yung bata na mismo o yung adopting parents. There's a process for you to access records of the adoption. Okay. So dito nakalagay dito sa batas may socialized fees. Kasi the law takes into consideration those na may syempre hindi naman ganung kayaman, hindi kaya maka-afford magbayad. Medyo mahal din po mag-file ng adoption sa dami po ng requirements. So yung iba, those below medyo mababang income, ay pwedeng mag-resort to the PAO, Public Attorney's Office, na magpo-provide po ng free legal assistance para po sa notarization ng documents para dito po sa mga qualified PAPs. So anong effects of adoption? Legitimacy, that means the child, the adoptee is now considered the legitimate child of the adopter. And this legitimacy extends not just to the adopter but also to the parents, to the descendants of the adopter. Okay. Ano naman ibig sabihin ng parental authority? Parental authority is the right of the parents to have the child in their custody, to care for the child, to decide things for the child. Yung merong sa US mas maliwanag may tinatawag na physical custody at saka legal custody. Dito sa Philippines medyo hindi ganun ka-clear yung ating distinction pagdating sa what parental authority covers. So yun nga, parental authority includes having the child in your custody. That's the legal that's the physical custody. At yung legal custody, the right to decide things for the child. Magpapa-vaccine ba yan? Pwede ba yung mag-travel? For a child to travel, kinakailangan ng parental consent. Diba? Pwede mag-aaral kung saang eskwela, kung anong relihiyon, etc. etc. So those are all covered under parental authority. And then succession. That means the adoptee now has the right to succeed. Heir na siya, heredero o heredera na siya ngayon ng adopter. Okay, so anong benefits naman ng adoptive parents? So kung ano man yung ini-enjoy ng biological parents, yun din ay binibigay na rin sa adoptive parents. So kung sila ay member ng SSS, GSIS, DOLE, I was a member. I also participated doon sa Expanded Solo Parents Welfare Act. So recognized na rin po doon ang rights of an adoptive parents to avail of the same rights as that of any solo parent. They happen to be a solo parent, diba? So may maternity leave, mayroon silang parental leave. So lahat po yan kasama as an adopted parent. Mayroon mga penal provisions. I won't go into this anymore kasi medyo mahaba. Anyway, I will leave the slides with you. You can look at them. Ang kailangan ko lang i-comment dito, the NACC as a quasi-judicial body has the right to implement this. Sa akin medyo may iffy yan because the NACC is an administrative body. These are penal provisions. Silang gumawa nito, tapos sila rin ang mag-i-implement. Medyo, di ba, may konting issue dyan. But then, again, unless somebody siguro is actually, so to be penalized under this, wala pa naman magko-question. So it's just there. Nobody has yet questioned it. There's transitory clause. So may 3-year transition period from 2022 until 2025 for the NACC to become fully operational. In the meantime, yan nga po, the SWD is the one performing the functions of NACC. I forgot to put my email ad. I will just put it, I will just put it here sa sa chat na lang. If you have any questions na hindi ko masasagot siguro dito sa natin, I will you can I don't know, wait. Yeah, I'm still in an okay, stop share. I will just put it here sa chat. This is my email ad. Okay. So, kung meron po tayong tanong, thank you very much for your time, for listening to me.
Thank you, Attorney June. Napaka-comprehensive. Parang ang feeling ko magiging eksperto na rin kami sa adoption. Pero it seems na very complicated, no? Kumbaga na it's not easy to adopt. Mas madali ba ngayon o mas lalong humirap?
Well, right now kasi nga I will consider it birthing pains. Kasi lawyer ako for the longest time ng DSWD. Nakikita ko rin naman yung yung point of view ng mga social worker na hirap sila trying to keep up with this new law. Kasi parang binigay sa kanila basta binagsak yung dating trabaho natin sa court. Although part of that trabaho na nila dati pa 'di ba? Kaya lang nga ang iksi nung binigay na oras sa kanila. Alam niyo naman, syempre, hindi lang ho ito ang trabaho nila. Saka tapos lalabas pa sila, kailangan silang gawin ito. Hindi pa ho talaga ayos. So ako na in behalf of the DSWD, although hindi na ako lawyer nila, I will beg for your indulgence na pagpasensya natin ng kaunti. Siguro alam ko maraming naiinis, bakit ganito, bakit ganyan, paulit-ulit, babalik-balik yung papeles. Sa akin, parte lang ho to. Sabi nga nila, hindi na daw kailangan ng abogado rito kasi nga wala ng court, di ba? Pero ang advice po namin, mas maganda po if you can go to a lawyer or CPA or CCA. CPA, Child Placement Agencies. Right now there are only 4 accredited ones here in the Philippines. KBF, what was the one in ay nakalimutan ko yung pangalan. Tatanda ko lang KBF. Basta 4 lang po sila na accredited na pwedeng gumawa nitong mga child study report. So yun po, medyo matagal, but ang idea nga eventually pag na-streamline, mas mabilis kasi isang body lang yung kausap mo. Hindi gaya dati, iba pa yung local government, iba pa yung regional office ng DSWD bago ka dumating sa court. So 3 steps yan. Naiinis ba? Bakit pa ulit-ulit? Gumawa na ng social case study dito, social case study na naman dito, social case study na naman dyan. So yun, medyo konting pasensya lang po tayo dahil nangangapa pa rin ang DSWD dito po.
Thank you very much. Attorney June, nakikita mo naman yung mga comments sa chat, no? Thank you very much daw. Wonderful and insightful presentation.
Thank you po.
Yun, galing sa California. Galing sa California yan. Sabi rin ni Luz, thank you, Attorney June, for your time. Yun ang very, very important sa amin na very privileged kami na kayong dalawa ni Attorney Luch nag-spend ng Saturday evening in the case of Attorney Luch and you, Sunday morning. Instead of having coffee with your family o magpaglalaro sa iyong apo, kasama ka at nag-enlighten sa amin. Ukol dito sa
Never
mga...
can say no to you, sis. Basta ikaw.
Basta ako.
Nanginginig pa.
Meron ding, ito, nagpapasalamat din ang California, si Lolita Bermeo. Thank you, Attorney June. At sharing your time is appreciated. Madaming nasa California
pleasure
na
po.
kasama natin ngayon. Meron po bang we can maybe take in 1 or 2 questions? Anyone who'd like to ask a question or share
Dory,
an experience?
ganito na
Yeah.
lang. Oo, baka merong magtanong dyan, kaya lang minsan nahihiya sila dahil alam mo na, adoption is also a very personal thing.
Oo.
Kaya I put my email there.
Okay.
I welcome po kung may mga tanong po kayo, you can email me directly.
Basahin ko June, JUNEAMAC @gmail.com.
Yes.
Talaga, pwede silang mag-email? Sabi mo nga, kaya mo nga binigay yung nakakatuwa naman kasi parang feeling
alam mo
ko
naman
talaga,
dati nung,
wow.
di ba? Oo, dati tayo sa legal aid, so walang problema giving free legal advice naman.
Ay, pwedeng lumundag muna ako dun sa topic na yon because
Ayun,
sa legal aid, very quickly, baka lang
Yes, of
merong gustong, lalo na yung mga Philippine-based, siguro briefly lang, paano ba, kasi ang isang nakikita kong problema ng marami sa ating mga kababayan ay, number 1, wala silang kilalang abogado. Number 2, kung may kilala man sila, natatakot magtanong dahil akala ang abogado ay mahal ang kailangang bayaran, which is actually also very true kasi ang mga meron tayong mga billing time din, di ba, na tinatawag mga eksperto, kailangan rin somehow na mag-bill. Pero meron tayong sistema rin ng National Legal Aid sa Pilipinas. Could you kindly share with them? Yung iba kasi parang ayaw pumunta o maaaring hindi i-accept ng PAO, yung Public Attorney's Office. Pero ano yung legal aid ng Integrated Bar of the Philippines? Would you be able to share?
Yeah, of course. Okay, so ang IBP nga po, Integrated Bar of the Philippines, na umbrella organization, sinabi na po to ni Ma'am Baby yata nung inintroduce niya ako. So lahat po kami, membro po niya, basta lawyer of good standing, mula kay Chief Justice hanggang sa kapapasang abogado lang po sa bar. Member po kami lahat. Now, ang IBP po has 86 chapters all over the Philippines. Mula po Batanes hanggang pinaka-southern point. Ito yung Samba Sultan chapter yata. Dito po sa Metro Manila, marami po tayo ditong chapters. So there's Quezon City, Manila has 4 chapters. There's yung pinaka head office natin ay nasa Pasig, yung may malaking IBP building doon, makikita nyo malapit po sa SM Mega Mall. What else? Makati meron din, PPLM, Parañaque, Pasay, sa Pasay po, etc. So ang dami pong free legal assistance na pwede naman po kayong magtanong doon, pwede kayong mag-walk-in, ano po, or bukod doon, ang Supreme Court meron na rin ngayong pinupush na clinical legal education program na lahat ng law schools ay magkaroon ng legal clinic. So kami po sa UP, nagsimula po kami yan, Office of Legal Aid. Na-train po kami dyan ni Sis Dory at saka ni Sis Lutz. Ano po, galing kami dyan. Pero ngayon nga sa Lasal, I'm a supervising lawyer. Doon, Lyceum, Ateneo, lahat po yan, lahat ng law schools meron po niyan. So pwede po rin humingi kayo ng advice kung advice lang ang kailangan. And then kung halimbawa it has to be like it's a full-blown case na kinakailangang may file na kaso, law schools can also handle it. At also yung mga legal aid committee ng IBP pwede rin. At bukod doon may mga NGOs tayo na pwede niyong lapitan. I'm a member also of the International Pro Bono Alliance. Ito naman ang aming advocacy for migrant workers. So may mga tie-ups kami with lawyers from Singapore, Hong Kong, Vietnam, Malaysia, around Asia, at saka UK pala meron din. US wala pa ata kami US. Sa Europe meron din. na ang nangyayari, yung lawyers na dito, we will help their nationals, kung may Vietnamese, Malaysian, etc., na nagkakaproblema, tinutulungan namin. On the other hand, yung ating mga Pinoy na mga kababayan in those countries where we have our partner lawyers, tinutulungan naman ng mga lawyers doon. So yun, marami naman po ang pwede nyong lapitan kung kinakailangan nyo ng legal advice. May tanong si Miss Florence Daos, meron po bang cost pag nag-adopt aside from publication, other government fees? Ma'am, I will be honest right now, dinodraw up pa ng DSWD yung kanilang menu of cost for this. I know medyo may charge itong mga accredited CPA. I don't know the exact amount, pero para po gumawa ng mga child study reports, home study reports, yun ang importante po kasi yun yung magsisimula ng proseso. So importante yung mga reports na yun po. But right now, hindi pa ho ayos talaga ang mga cost for the whole process. If you're interested, ang NCR po is in Ligarda. That's where the office is now located. Pwede po dong magtanong.
Thank you, Attorney June.
Welcome po.
So we already have your email address, and I hope that again, kung sino man ang merong gustong itanong, nakabukas naman, binuksan ni Attorney June ang communication line, so to speak, with the people who are here right now. Two things, Attorney June, mag-ano tayo ulit? Pwede ba tayong pa-picture ulit? May mga dumating kasi ng after
sure.
yung picture taking natin earlier. Parang andito pa rin
Nandiyan
si
pa si
Attorney Lutz.
Oo nga nakita ko pa yung kanyang...
Yeah, I'm
dito pa
still
siya.
here. I'm still here.
So,
Ayan,
pa-picture pa
balik
tayo
video.
Pero bago tayo magpa-picture, sorry, two things. Meron pala na naman na ating certificate of appreciation. Si baby naman ang magbabasa, si aking kapatid. So ipapakita ni Secretary Ice. Pwede ba nating ipakita na ang ating certificate?
So, thank you very much, Attorney June, for sharing your knowledge. Pero on the side, sabi ko nga sa kapatid ko, grabe, yung mga laws napaka-complicated at yung parang talagang ang hirap in-navigate. So, buti na lang merong mga lawyers like you and of course, Attorney Lutz then to help the ordinary person navigate all of this. So, thank you for that. So, I'd like to read hindi ko masyado makita, sorry. The Rotary Club of Kagitingan Cubao is giving this certificate of appreciation, is presenting this certificate of appreciation to Attorney June Ambrosio in grateful recognition and commendation for her valuable effort and exemplary performance as resource speaker in the Public Service Program Part 2 webinar, Updates on Adoption Laws in the Philippines, given this 4th day of December 2022 at RC Kagitingan Cubao's webinar. And it's signed by Rotarian Doris Vanisdale, Chair of the Satellite Club of Kagitingan Cubao, and Alvin Mangona, President of RC Kagitingan Cubao. So, thank you very much, Attorney June.
Thank you. Thank you, Ren.
Once again, thank you. Pa-picture tayo at shout out pala, kamusta sa inyong lahat? Merong nasa California, merong nasa New York. Nagkaroon daw ng aberya ang aming chair ng satellite, nasa Arizona siya. Medyo nahirapang mag-login. At meron din tayong mga nandito kasama natin all the way from Candelaria, Quezon, the province of Quezon, nandyan sila. Mga soon, malapit na, magjo-join sila sa ating Rotaract, sa mga young people na Rotaract. mas bata kaysa sa mga Rotarian. At sasali ang iba sa satellite club of online natin. Hello, Candelaria, Quezon. Yan. Pa-picture na po tayo. At alam ko, nagugutom nang nasa Pilipinas. Ice, can we Sec Eileen? Let us know.
Okay po. Page 1 na. Smile. 1, 2, 3. Another page. 1, 2, 3. Isa na lang. Tita Luz. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Paano ba nalalaman kung ano yung page 1, page 2, at page 3? Yung marunong sa
ko din
mga
alam.
ganitong bagay. But
Hindi
thank
na lang
you.
tatlong beses.
Thank you very much. For those who attended, what we usually do, nakagawian din to, simula na nagka-pandemic, nagkakaroon tayo ng konting raffle. At ito ay, ang hindi kasali ay ang presidente ng Rotary Club, ang ating president-elect, ang ating resource persons. Hindi sila kasali sa raffle. Pasensya na po. Pero
Sis
ang gagawin
Dory, may I
natin-
be excused?
Oh, yes.
Permission
yes,
to
sorry.
leave your honor.
Permission. Thank you very much.
Miguel,
muli.
so nice seeing you, Sis Dory, Sis Luz. Maraming salamat po sa pag-imbita. Andyan po yung aking, ako lang, tinatawagin ako. Mua, I love you guys. Bye.
Love you. Bye-bye. Tatanong ko pala, nakabalik na ba si Francis? Nawala si ang aming president-elect eh. Siya ang magpapa-thank you sana. But we'll just say thank you to everyone. Let's get ready for our raffle. Simple lang po ang mga prizes namin. We will have, nakalimutan ko, Ice. Ano nga yun?
Senior moments and
tatlong $10. Oh, sorry, $10. Or the peso equivalent kung nasa Pilipinas ang mananalo. At isang, tama ba, isang $20 or its peso equivalent. So,
Right.
apat lang ang winners natin.
Hello. Wait.
Yeah? Sino yun?
si Tres Ranch, I think.
Sorry, hindi ako nakamute.
Okay. So, naki-secretary-ize natin ang lahat ng mga nandito ngayon, pero ang rules natin ay dapat present ka up to
Same.
now for you to be able to get the prize. Again, ito po ay munting pasasalamat lamang for sharing your time with us. Yan muna, ito muna, presence is required, sabi niya. Kaya namin hinihingi for Philippine-based ang GCash ninyo. At kung US-based kayo, pakilagay na lang once you win, pakilagay lang sa chat box kung ano ang inyong Venmo or Zelle. Alright? Okay, Sec Eyes, let's go.
3 winners for $10.
Present.
Asan yung sa taas o sa gilid?
Pwede ba yan? Oo naman. Wala namang, siya yun. Ice? Okay? Panalo siya. Dalawa pa. Electronic po ito. Wala pong halong
Yung bang sa taas o sa gilid?
paano yan?
Congrats, Pipi Renz.
Hindi ba i-wave yan?
Thank you.
So thank you na. Do you hear me? One more for 500 pesos or $10.
Wala na si PN.
Uy, wala na siya. So one more.
Saan?
Ayun, hindi mo nakikita.
Hindi, akala ko sa taas.
Oh, sorry. Si Emerald ba ay siya yung nasa Quezon, ano?
Andito pa siya.
Andito pa ba
Thank
siya?
you po.
Oh, andyan pa.
Nandyan pa siya.
Thank you rin, Emerald.
For
$20.
Meron
$20.
$20.
Ito lang. Sa trabaho.
And California wins. Divina, nandiyan ka pa?
Yan yung pangalan niya.
Yes po. Yes po. Pero idodonate ko na lang yan, then mag-a-add pa ako ng isa. Draw for
Ooh!
2 more.
Wow!
Ilan? Anong i-add mo? 20
Magsisa-
or?
20. Isa-sell ko
Okay,
sa
so-
inyo po.
Yay! So meron pa tayong dalawang 20. Thank
Yes.
you!
Thank you po.
Mhm.
Patricia, andito ka pa? Are you still here?
Well, her name is
Nasaan siya? Patricia? Is she still here?
Opo. Taga saan po siya?
California.
Oh, I can sell it to her.
Ha?
Okay,
You
one
can
more.
send to her. Oo. Andito ba?
Nandun yung
Dyan
pangalan.
po siya. Hindi lang po nagsasalita.
Ay,
Hindi
oo,
natin-
gumagawa siya ng pastillas. Baka
Oh.
yung kamay niya ngayon, puro gatas. Hindi, nasa California siya. She makes very, very delicious pastillas.
Wow.
Okay.
Congrats. One more na lang po.
One more. Congratulations, EA. Okay na tayo? Okay na lahat? Ay, andyan pa ba si EA?
Andyan ba siya?
EA, nasan ka?
Andun yung pangalan.
Wala na.
Going gun? Ice?
Nakita naman yung pangalan.
Sagot daw, sabi ni Ice. Hindi, nandiyan pa. Andyan pa siya. Mahiyain lang yung bata. Oh, well, he's not young. Oh.
Ayun.
Okay.
Ayun na, nagsalita na.
Thank you very much. Now, let me call, okay na tayo, no? Wala na, nabigay na lahat ng prizes.
Opo.
Thank you, Miss Divine, Miss Divina.
Thank
Not
you, Miss
only
Dory.
did you-
Yeah, keep inviting me. I'll make sure to join.
Thank you.
I learn a lot. Yeah.
Thanks so
Let
much.
me know how I can sell you the $20.
Sige, textan tayo.
Yeah. All right.
May I now call on our President-elect, Mr. Engineer Francis Sabalza, to say thank you to everyone. Francis, for the closing, please.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for staying all throughout this webinar. Sorry, I got disconnected a while ago. I was driving, but I was listening all throughout. I was really amazed, or I was so happy, and at marami ako nakuha information, and the speakers were so detailed about what sa mga expertise at pag-share nila sa kanilang mga knowledge about this immigration and adoption. I'm very thankful to them. And of course, I'm sure marami pang mga questions na darating at maraming uulanin ng question pa si Pipi Dory about this these topics. So I'm very happy, and I'm really appreciate sa pag-join ninyo sa webinar na to. Thank you so much po for taking time to attend this webinar. Thank you so much, everybody. Good day.
Thank you, P.E. Francis. Palakpakan natin ang ating sarili. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
So, bye.